Okay, Shalom Ezra. I know everybody was kind of waiting for us. We had a little spirited discussion for a little bit before we got a chance to get into class. Shalom, LA Judah. Shalom Kab, LA Judah. Shalom, Kwatazap, isbhpk Houston. Shalom Zion, isbhpk Rochester, and shout out isbhpk Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to get started with our prayers real quick and then get into the class. Not us yet. Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai. Hahawa. Award. Zayawam. Zawada. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the light this day. Thanks, so be it.
Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Hahawa. Nothing to know. Rayach. Naya Chachai. Zawada. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the sweet savor. Thank you, so be it.
Imagine Wapanya Yerushalayim.
Stand and face Jerusalem.
Just to make sure, is everybody hearing us clearly? If you guys are listening, just kind of chime in with the yes, we hear you. We have a different automated system. We just want to make sure everybody understands what we're saying. Why is it so small? See that?
Yeah, I see it. Can somebody check the audio?
That's weird, bro.
Right, can you step outside and check the audio and see if you can hear us?
Okay. Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Barak Yahweh Hashem Yahshai.
Hahawa. Nefilinawa. Hashabbat. Bashalom. Zawada. Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the Sabbath in peace. Thank you, so be it.
Okay. Psalms 121. Anasha, Ayanyamya, Pahayam, Ma'aya, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Ma, Yahweh, Sha'isha, Shemayim, Wa'arataza, La'a, Yonathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Yonathan. Sorry. Regalia, Yala'a, Nawam, Shashamoya, Hana, Yala'a, Nawam, Wala'a, Yishan, Shashamamor, Yashara, Yahweh, Shemoya, Yahweh, Cesaria, Aye, Yanyamya, Yad, Hashemash, Yala'a, Hakaya, Bayawam, Wala'a, Halabana, Walayala, Yahweh, Yashmoya, Makol, right, Yashmor, Pasha, Yahweh, Yashmor, Kabalakia, Wabu'ayah, Wa'ayah,
Aman. Psalms 121 in English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Israelite Credo. Shema Yashra'ah, Yahweh, Elohayna, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yashra'ah, Yahweh, Elohayna, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yashra'ah, Yahweh, Elohayna, Yahweh, Echad.
Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord.
Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shema Shemayim, Kodesh, Hayab, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Wafka, Naba'ah, Ratazaka, Hayab, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawab, Hayab, Bashemayim, Nathalanah, Nachom, Kol, Yawam, Wasalachno, Kawabino, Wasalachno, Kawabino, Wala'ah, Thub Ya'nah, Wanasai 1, Abo, Awashina, Mayan, Rai, Hayab, Lakab, Malakwa, Ha'ala, Wahathel Pa'arat, La'ai Walamya. Amen.
Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen.
10 Commandments. La'ayahaya, Laka, Alahaya, Achaya, Aya, Panya.
Thou shalt have no other powers before me.
La'a, Tha'ayna, Laka, Pasal, Wala'ah, Tha'aybada.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, nor serve them.
Number 3. La'a, Thalachwacha, Sham, Yahweh, Washawa.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain.
Number 4. Zakar, Hayawah, Hashabah, Lakwalashwa.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Number 5. Kabad, Abaka, Ya'amaka.
Honor thy father and thy mother.
Number 6. La'a, Tharatazah.
Thou shalt not kill, murder.
Number 7. La'a, Thana'a.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Number 8. La'a, Thagara.
Thou shalt not steal.
Number 9. La'a, Tha'ayna, Shakwar.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
Number 10. La'a, Thachamad, Ko, Asherah, La Ra'aika.
Thou shalt not covet anything which is thy neighbor's.
Baruch Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, that gives to us the law.
Okay. Israel Yishabim.
Everybody sit.
Watch the cameras.
Oh.
Got a good tea again, too. Brought to you by Naga.
My brother. I don't know why this thing is acting up.
It's a small,
I don't know why it's doing
not a
this.
small thing. It's supposed to
Put all caps, just in case.
But it's not even, it's the size. Let's go with this.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, but that's still, why is it, why we have to have giant writing on it for it to be just acceptable?
Yeah.
That's horrible, bro. We'll figure it out, but at least that
Maybe it's
for
new.
now.
It's a new program.
Nah, bro, I think it's wacky sometimes. All right, last Shabbat class, we dealt with the 9.5 tribes being the 9.5 tribes being sent out, captured by the Assyrian Empire. They were besieged for 3 years and sent out in captivity to different cities in the province of Assyria, whether it was Haran, Nineveh, Regas, Ecbatane, different parts of the sections and jurisdictions of the Assyrian Empire. And then we talked in class about how portions of us went to the Euphrates River, went to the Americas. Other portions of us strove northward and changed our names and identity to Scythians and Gamarians. And class even yesterday kind of tied in to where we were all being dispersed and scattered in different parts of the world. And it brought about the necessity of Paul and the different apostles and teachers to spread the word out to Israel that's scattered all throughout the four corners of the earth. With that being said, we still have some more parts of 2 Kings chapter 17 that we have not finished and completed. Okay? We haven't dealt with, okay, now that all of Samaria and the adjoining cities in the capital city of Samaria are inhabited now, or not inhabited, or all the people are taken out. Now what happens to that land? Now all that open space, you can take prisoners in different countries and bring them inside of that country. So we're going to sit back and find out now what the fate of Samaria and all the cities that were once Israelite northern kingdom cities, what happens to them. That's going to be the first part of class. And eventually we'll go into Hezekiah and some of his exploits when Hezekiah was in power as the northern kingdom was completely falling apart. But first things first, we want to finish off our teaching and explanations about the northern kingdom. Then we'll go and deal with the southern kingdom. So we're going to first go into 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24 through 27. Let's get right. Shalom everybody online too. Shalom everybody.
Korea, Shashabatah, Banashah, Banyashala.
Korea, Shashabatah, Banashah, Banyashala. Emerging. Yahweh Hashem Yahshabakatam.
How about Hashem Yahshabakatam?
Yahshabakatam. Like him, man? New joints, man.
Yeah, I just started noticing. Yeah. I thought what they was. Yeah, that's what they had, man.
They all uniform too.
You know, I'm tripping. I was like, I'm feeling it, but you know.
Yeah. It's ergonomic. It's for the back.
It's legit, bro.
But yeah, here we go.
That's what was on the boxes.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you know.
Hey, everybody's phones turned down.
No wonder.
Okay.
Feel better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Voice is extra spry today. We're going to teach the Bible today, man. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24 through 27.
Come. 2 Kings chapter 17, verses 24 through 27.
Matter of fact, give me verse 23, just to start off, have a starting point.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 23. Until the Most High removed Israel out of his sight, as he has said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day.
So when it says Israel was carried away out of the Most High's sight, the Most High's sight was fixated on Israel. Okay? His sight was fixated on Israel, so when he allowed the Assyrians to take us out of the northern kingdom, we were taken out of his sight, out of his periphery. Okay? And then it says, so Israel was carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. So there has yet to be this grand recovery of us going back to our homelands, at least for the 9.5 tribes' sake. Okay? Now, the land is uninhabited. What's the king of Assyria, which at the time was Shalmaneser and Sargon II? They were brothers, and even though we read about some Shalmaneser getting the credit in 2 Kings, Sargon II had something to do with it also. They were warring brothers, fighting and vying for control of the throne of Assyria. So now that the Israelites are gone out of Samaria, what do the kings of Assyria do now? Read on.
Verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuthah, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim.
Now hold on. Is that the map I want? No, that's the map I want. Now listen, let's slow this down, and let's try to find some of these cities that are being talked about. Now this writing in these cities are very difficult. Let's see what we can do. Let's start off and go slow. Verse 24 again.
Come. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuthah.
Now Cuthah is in that darker green portion of the map. I'm trying to explain without using a pointer that you guys can't see.
Hey, Craig, can you move
so,
two steps to the side? 2 feet, two more feet. Just read from right there because the mic peaks. You can hear him when it reads. You can hear that mic peak.
Okay, that's fine. And if you hear any variation in sound online, guys, let us know. I just want to make sure if it's not too loud, let us know, or if it's too loud, let us know. So if you see that green area, you'll see on the bottom, like the southeast of the green landmass, you'll see Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
To the right of it, you'll see Kutha.
Yeah.
Y'all see Kutha?
Con.
So people from the land of Kutha, which was a province of Babylon, but was controlled and ran by the Assyrian Empire, they sent people from Kutha over to Samaria, or the northern kingdom territory. Kutha, Ava, I cannot find Ava. I've seen it in other places. I just can't see it on this map. I think when I did some personal research, Ava was going close to where Syria is, because the next word is from Hamath, right?
Con.
It says from Ava and from Hamath.
Con.
Hamath is definitely in Syria, because Hamath is north of Damascus, which is the capital city of Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, which is the capital city of Syria. So Hamath is a province of Syria.
Can you repeat? I'm sorry. Can you repeat what you just said?
Hamath is a city of Syria. Okay. And I had mentioned that Damascus was the capital city of Syria. But Hamath, so they took captors and slaves that were located in Hamath, which was Syrians, and brought them down to Samaria as well. I read it, I don't have it in front of me, but Ava, if I'm not mistaken, was in the city and area of Syria as well. Okay? Then we got...
Yeah, Hava is close to Hamath. It's very close to Hamath.
That's what I thought, because I saw it in a previous map that Ava or Ava is next to Hamath. So Ava is in Syria as well. So they're taking Syrian prisoners and bringing them down to Samaria. You have some Babylonian prisoners, and you're sending them down to Samaria as well. That region. Read on.
Con. And from Sepharvaim.
Sepharvaim. I don't have that one. I might have looked at it earlier, but I can't find it now. So I'm not going to worry about Sepharvaim. But we're going to go into a little bit about what they were, how they were rolling later on. But give me verse 24 from the top.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Kutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim.
Sepharvaim is by Damascus, so it's still in Syria.
Perfect.
Right by the capital.
So they're still just bringing a lot of transplants from Syria and sprinkled in with some Babylonian people. Okay? Read on.
And placed them in the cities of Samaria.
Now what we're going to read in the Josephus in a little bit is that just because the people of Kutha, or the people in the cities of Kutha, were in the region of Babylon, doesn't mean for sure that the people in Kutha were Babylonians. Even when you're reading about Ava, Hamath, and Sepharvaim, that might be a hub where other prisoners are being stationed. Just keep that in mind. So just because they're in the region of Syria doesn't mean they're bringing Syrian people, native Syrian people, to Samaria. We'll find that out as we get into more details in the class. We're just right now, we're knowing people from these cities. These are outposts, and they're being brought down to the northern kingdom's land to occupy their territory. Obviously, what the Assyrians were doing was just keeping everybody off balance. I'll take this country over here, keep them off balance in this land, take them, bring them back over here. These people over there, if you take them out of their bearings, it's harder, it's easier to control them.
Because they're thrown off.
Yes.
But so what also is happening is Israel is being removed from this location, and other nations are being brought in instead of them.
Yes. Just because we're going over these names, and some of these names are saying cities in Syria, Kutha is in Babylon, you can't say for a fact that Babylonians were in Samaria. You can't say for a fact that some Syrians were in Samaria. For now. I just want to make sure we keep it neutral. So, let's continue.
And placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel,
Yep.
And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof.
So they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities of Samaria. Read on.
And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not the Most High. Therefore the Most High sent lions among them, which slew some of them.
So listen, there was some Ghost in the Darkness stuff that happened. I don't know if you ever saw Ghost in the Darkness.
The movie with Val Kilmer.
With Val Kilmer and Kirk Douglas. It was Kirk Douglas in it too, right? He was the wily Edomite bushman that knew about the Africans and the people in the forest. Point is that in that movie, The Ghost in the Darkness, the British obviously had colonized Africa at the time, and they were trying to build railroads through the bush to make money, to make it easy for their transport and their commerce. So they're having Ishmaelites and they're having Hamites build this railroad, and as they're doing it, these killer lions, this duo of killer lions, is just snatching people out of their tents out.
Which was based on a true story.
Yes.
Wow.
And they were very. The mysticism came from the fact that they were trying to shoot them and they couldn't kill them. And they were damn near impossible to kill for a long period of time. They were just taking down the population of these workers, and they were man eaters. So everybody was stressing out about how to get these. Esau cared about their bottom line. How can we keep this construction going? But the people were like, I'm not working. The devil lion is out there. I am not working. I'm not sleeping in that tent. The devil lion is here to kill us. Listen, Africans were calling the devil lion. The East Indians were like, no Africa, no devil lion, no work. So everybody was protesting and was trying to quit work and everything like that. So then you had to leave it to the white man. Sit back and figure out the problems. He's always a solution guy. The cunning hunter.
Yeah.
He's the guy with wisdom. They had to find their version of Sean Connery act that gives the solutions act. You know, our white man is the one that he keeps his composure in pressure situations act. He thinks it through. Nobody else is capable. These bush Africans who have lived around Africans for hundreds of years couldn't figure this shit out. But this white man in his suits and ties, he can figure it out.
Yeah.
Does that make any damn sense?
No.
The Africans sit back here, what do we do, boss? I don't know what to do about these Africans. You know what? Why don't we get up on the tree and do a stakeout? Good idea. Like they could have thought about that. They couldn't think about stakeouts and going in two-man teams. Can you just give them some guns so they can figure this out? Nah, the white man had to do it. The Brit. Anyway.
That's the Brit.
Yeah, he's a cunning hunter. He wanted to do it anyway.
Listen, the indigenous people couldn't do that.
Yeah,
they had no ability.
They got lion coats on. Of course they did.
That's what I'm saying. You couldn't have hired some bushmen to do that. Why don't you go in the interiors where these guys are living with these damn lions and ask them?
You got the video with them Africans. They take to steal the meat from the lion. They steal a zebra leg.
I've never seen
You gotta go
Great
on
video.
YouTube.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they walk up to a feeding pack of lions out, and they stand up with sticks out, and they steal a leg. They run off. The lions run off. They cut a leg real quick. Then they put it on their shoulder and walk off.
But they couldn't ask them for answers.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was in the 2000s.
Yeah, that was in the 2000s.
So these guys in the bush during this Goes to the Darkness had to been the late 1800s when Britain was at their peak and Ham was still sweating outside. And they couldn't have asked them these questions out.
Yeah.
Get out of here, out. Or India dealing with these bingo tires couldn't figure out a way to kill this damn animal together. Just give them some guns and some spears and some thickets. Anyway, bro, this is ridiculous, Hot.
You know they make that sound.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is what's going on. Ghost in the Darkness is happening. These people from Sephirim, whatever they are, whatever their implants, or they're from indigenous to the country, Syrians, whoever you want to call it, they get transplanted. They're doing the Walla religions, the wicked religions, and the Most High is sending these crazy, bloodthirsty lions on the people and the population. They're taking people out. Now there's panic and fear in the city. Continue.
Verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Most High of the land.
They don't know how the Most High operates in the land. They don't have a clue about what it takes to please the Heavenly Father. So what type of debauchery was going on in this land to where the Most High was like, I got to send some lions to keep these cats in check. This is bad. This is way too bad. So let's keep going. What's that?
Bring one verse out. Genesis chapter 10. Genesis chapter 10, verse. Genesis chapter 10, start at verse 8.
Genesis chapter 10 and verse 8.
Read that.
Genesis chapter 10 and verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth.
Go ahead.
He was a mighty hunter before the Most High.
And we know the word Nimrod means what?
Mighty hunter.
No, it's like some kind of
Nimrod, the Hebrew word Nimrod, Namarud, means rebel.
rebel.
Yes, because he was a rebel against who?
Most High.
He was a rebel against the Most High. That's why the Bible said he's a mighty one to the Lord. He was a rebel. Anything biblical, anything godlike, he was the antithesis of it. He was the opposite of anything godly. So when instead of steering people towards serving the Most High, he did everything in his power for the people to depend on their own strength. He was the one that pushed that what some people call a new age religion, where you just you call your own destiny, you call out your own destiny, you speak things into existence. Where you're the master of your own destiny.
Yeah.
Nimrod was the first to take people's mind to say, don't attribute your fear, your blessings to the Most High. It's you and your power that gets you where you want to be in life. You manifest your own destiny. So it was Nimrod pushing that type of theology and ideology in that time frame for people to empower themselves. I got it right.
Okay, that's cool. I'm operating from the background, man.
So it was Nimrod that was pushing that ideology that you are the master of your own destiny. You don't have to believe in God. You don't need to serve the Most High. You can just worship your own strength. So read that on. Read on.
Verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High.
Read on.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Most High.
Right. He steered people away from the Most High. Read on.
And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel.
And that's exactly where we at. We're the mentality of these people that lived in these countries. These are ancient descendants of Nimrod, and their culture. They have nothing to do with the Most High. Because of who? Because of the one who founded the cities. Because of Nimrod. He's the one that put people in that anti-God mentality.
God.
So this is why we go to now. They don't know the God of the land, because what land did they come from? They came from Nimrod's land.
A godless land.
A godless land.
Yeah.
That's why they don't know the God of the land of Israel. So you let that go and go back to 2 Kings 17. You had your hand up?
Yeah, but you're saying again that these people, like what we're saying, we're being neutral. That we can't say that they're not Israelites.
Well, the ones from Babylon wasn't Israelites.
I'll make sure I'm clear on this. They weren't Israelites.
Oh,
They were non-Israelite people. What I was trying to say is you can't say for a fact they were Syrians.
Oh, okay.
Or just because they were in the region of Hamath or Ava or Serabim, they were Syrians. Because I would imagine the Assyrians were swapping a lot of people out. Now, to Shalchuan's point, these people, whether they were Babylonians or not, they were already buying into the culture of what Nimrod was teaching.
Yeah.
That entire region was following the belief system of Nimrod.
It was his empire.
So that whole landmass, whether you're talking about Kutha,
Erech,
Babylon,
Chaldea,
Erech, that whole Susa.
Nineveh.
Well, that Susa is more Persian.
And even up in Assyria, he found it Nineveh too.
Exactly. So that region was pushing those different deities.
Right.
So it's safe to tap into the deity angle that Shalchuan was saying. I just didn't want to sit back here and just get stuck completely on these people in Hamath were Syrians.
But they're not Israelites.
Yes.
And the intent is to pollute the land.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With their belief systems that have nothing to do with the Heavenly Father.
And if you could ever find a video, or actually not even a video, it's a VHS tape. It's a VHS tape called Mondo Magic.
That's old school.
That's
Mondo
old.
Magic was old school.
It's hard to find. If anybody find it, good. We want a copy.
I think
Yeah.
I went at the how my
You do?
father has Mondo
Yeah,
Magic.
you gotta
Mondo
see
Magic
it.
crazy. Bro.
It's a documentary about these white folks that actually go watch all the indigenous belief systems of tribal people across the globe. And when they're in Africa, they show you how they drink blood, how they wipe boo boo on their body, how they take urine showers,
Yes.
and their
The little kids were sprinting to get a fresh source of pee on their body.
yeah, urine showers, boo
And
boo
that
baths.
Ganges River, the Ganges.
Oh, the Ganges. Oh, yeah.
That was in the world for me, bro.
Yeah, the ceremonies, how they treat their dead, how they treat their women, how they
These kids were drinking water and taking baths. They were drinking water, taking baths. Dead bodies were floating in the river. Animals were being washed and bathed there. The cows, which were sacred in that country, they're in that water. Little kids, and the water was brown.
Yep.
That water was,
It was
damn
dirty brown.
Dirty brown. It was like muddy water.
And even though there's a 1980s video,
You can
still
see it was brown.
Yeah.
It wasn't like clear, a little bit of no. It was
wasn't
brown.
no 4X. You know, I mean.
And there was bodies floating, bro.
Yeah.
It was
then
bad.
you know you got the terminology. You know, hey man, don't blow no smoke up my butt. You know what I'm saying? That's a figure of speech.
Yeah.
But the medicine men in these Hamite countries, they actually blow smoke through a pipe in people's butts because that's how you get the demons
All
out.
facts.
Oh.
That's how you get the spirit out. The negative. If you're possessed with a demon, they actually take a cane pole and they blow smoke up your butt. And so we use it for a figure of speech in America. Man, don't be blowing no smoke up
They's
your butt.
about that
No,
life.
they actually do that for real as a means of getting out the evil spirit. So now you can imagine. Now they got this on video. They got it on video. They got the medicine man blowing
Yes.
smoke at people's butt.
Mondo
Like I
Magic.
said,
We gotta get a movie night. We get a chance to watch
Movie
it.
night. Yeah, even say this. It ain't even the kind of movie where you want to sit back and get popcorn and that shit. Like, oh, look at it. Nah, I'm telling
That's what
you.
he was talking about.
Yeah. So you know that
Was that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was it. You see that? And, anyway, I'm sorry.
That was amazing, bro.
And Leo in the yellow shirt.
Yeah,
I
I
like
remember
this.
that, yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Man, so that's actually part of the video is that's some of their belief system. Ain't got nothing to do with the Most High, man. You never read nobody blowing smoke in nobody's butt in the Bible. Now.
No, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So
And they were putting their whole arm in the elephant's body
yeah,
to get him to sit back here and poop out.
yeah,
God.
they need that poop.
Yeah, they did all this stuff out. They did it all.
The video is crazy. Yeah. Say it again.
They put elements of that in Jurassic Park too, the first one.
Yeah.
They were out there trying to remedy the animals.
Yeah, well that's where they get it from.
Yeah,
They get it from the Hamites.
They took remnants.
Yeah, they took pieces from the Hamites, and so that's what this whole documentary is about. So you can see that this is a godless society, a godless culture.
Yep.
But you get to see it, firsthand on the video. But this is what happened when you bring them cultures into the land of Israel. They don't know how to worship the God of the. They think it's a negative, superstitious spirit. They don't look at the Most High as being supreme, as a supreme God.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying? You
All
let that
facts.
go.
So now let's get back to read verse 26.
Come. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Most High of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the Most High of the land.
So read on.
Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the Most High of the land. Then one of the priests...
No, read verse 27 again.
Come. Verse 27. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the Most High the land.
So the Assyrians said, okay, let's send some of the priests down to teach the people, the newly christened people that are in Assyria, to learn how to operate and serve the Most High in the land. The crazy thing, when I was taught this, I was taught that these priests were talking about Levites. But the funny thing is, Levites weren't the priests of the northern kingdom at this time. Levites, remember, we're going to go into it.
Okay.
But they're saying send a priest from the northern kingdom that's captive in Assyria to come down and teach them the ways of the land. The only problem with that is Jeroboam put wicked men, put base men, and made them priests of the new empire of the northern kingdom. So we were always taught that Levites were brought back down here to teach the northern kingdom. That's not true. What ended up happening
Because
is,
the Levites fled to the south.
and that's what we're going to go into the scriptures to show, so we have understanding. So we're going to hold this in 2 Kings 17 and 27, and we're going to go to 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 26 through 33. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 26 through 33.
1 Kings chapter 12 and verse 26. And Jeroboam said in his heart, now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Most High at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord.
So Jeroboam was like this. I have the people on my side. We're anti-Rehoboam. If I bring the northern kingdom to Jerusalem to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles and Passover, it was Feast of Tabernacles, if I'm not mistaken. If I bring them down here, then they're going to have their heart connected back into readjusting and resetting themselves up with Judah, and I'm going to lose my power. So I got to do something about this. Read on.
Even unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel,
See that?
which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
So the first thing Jeroboam did is he brought sin to the northern kingdom by saying that these 2 calves was the Most High. These 2 calves represented the Most High, and it represented the Most High delivering Israel out of Egypt. He placed these 2 calves, one in Bethel, which was the southernmost part of the northern kingdom, and the other one was in Dan, which is the northernmost part of the northern kingdom. And he said, this is where you start going to start serving the Most High, which is represented by this golden calf, which is a graven image, which was breaking the law of the Most High. Read on.
Verse 29. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
And that was the point I was driving. Jeroboam started off the tone of not having the Levites be priests in the northern kingdom. They were going to sit back and make priests of the lowest basis people. So these weren't high disciplined, high character men that took the responsibility of being these new priests of the Most High. And as you keep reading on, these priests kept evolving into worse and worse forms of adaptation to other deities and other belief systems. So we're going to keep reading in 1 Kings 13.
Come. First Kings chapter 12, verse 32. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah. And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made.
He did it a month later. He did it a month later to circumvent what the priests were doing in the southern kingdom. Read on.
And he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
So, as soon as Jeroboam got his power, he started changing policies, and he started implementing false low-level priests to take the position of the Levite priest in the priest district and hierarchy.
It's imposters.
It was imposters. So the Assyrians, when we're reading in 2 Kings chapter 17, were under the assumption, let's bring these priests that's going to teach these foreigners how to operate the land. These priests were still imposters of the Levite priests that were sent down and still taught them a bastardized version of how to serve the Most High. They still taught them a bastardized version of what serving the Most High is all about. Now, let that verse go, and we're jumping to 2 Kings. Hold on. 2 Chronicles, chapter 11, verse 13 through 16. 2 Chronicles, chapter 11 through 16.
Chapter 11, what verse again?
2 Chronicles 11, verse 13 through 16.
Come. 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verses 13 through 16. And the priests and the Levites that were in all Israel resorted to him out of all their coasts. For the Levites left their suburbs and their possession.
So the Levites left their suburbs and the possession the Most High gave all of them in the northern kingdom. Read on.
And came to Judah and Jerusalem.
All the Levites left the northern kingdom. Unless they were like extremely wicked. The Levites left their lot up in the north and joined Judah and Benjamin in the south. Read on.
For Jeroboam and his sons has cast them off from executing the priest's office unto the Most High.
So he's letting you know, Jeroboam kicked out all the Levites. So why would the Levites stay in the north? They had no purpose. They had purpose in the south. Read on.
And he ordained him priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he had made.
He said Jeroboam ordained priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves, which was, I just said it, it wasn't idolatry, it was graven images. When you sit back and look at the calves, they were graven images because they said that the calves were the Most High. There was idolatry and there was graven images. Idolatry eventually began when Ahab allowed his wife Jezebel to push the Zidonian gods. That's idolatry. This was, I keep forgetting the word, graven images. When you sit back here and you look at an image and call it the Most High. That was the beginning of them disconnecting to the Most High and establishing priests to back that approach. So once again, we had to go back in history. This is another reason we read about it a few weeks ago, why we said that Levi, as a whole, did not go up to the Assyrian Empire for their punishment. Levi was down south. Now you might have had some wicked Levites still sprinkled up north, but for the most part, they all migrated south. Got it? Read on.
Verse 16.
Yes, from the same side.
No, go ahead.
Keep going.
Verse 16. And after them, out of all the tribes of Israel, such as set their hearts to seek the Most High power of Israel, came to Jerusalem to sacrifice unto the Most High power of their fathers.
Now also, during this migration, it wasn't just Levites that came down south. Some northern tribe people who were dedicated to the Most High made their trip down. That's part of the reason why when you read in the New Testament, you read about somebody from the tribe of Asher was still operating around in Israel at the time when Christ was living there, because some people from the northern kingdom were still living in Israel when they migrated down at this point. Okay?
Con.
Read on.
That was in 16.
That was 16.
Okay, so we're going to go now and go back to 2 Kings chapter 17
Con.
and verse 27.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 27. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach the manner of the Most High of the land.
So once again, that was the thinking. To stop this Ghost in the Darkness part 2 issue, let's go ahead and send one of their priests back down here and teach the people. We just wanted to make sure for the record we understood that the priests weren't Levites. These were base men that were taught. This is like a 200-year period that Israel was operating doing this. So for 200 years, you had 9.5 tribers that were posing to be priests.
Okay.
That were teaching the wrong way of the priesthood. Yes, sir.
Quick question. This was a purposed strategy, because this is a surprise to me. This was a purposed strategy to discredit and take the any type of respect away from the northern kingdom. But that's what it sounds like.
Jeroboam did what he did to make sure he eliminated any threats to losing his kingdom.
So it was.
There was the law said the 7th month you were supposed to, all the Israelites were supposed to come together and meet at Jerusalem. So he said, no, we're going to do it on the 8th month. We're going to sit back and come together one more month later than what everybody else does, and we're going to do it up north. He had to do everything he could to disassociate himself from the south, from Judah. And his ability to maintain his power was based on fueling that rift, fueling that beef, fueling that discontent that started from the time of Solomon and bubbled up to a crescendo with Rehoboam. So he did what he could to maintain his power, and just, if he could separate the 9.5 from Judah, he can retain his strength. In his head, if I sit back here and allow a reconciliation, I'm dead. So I got to do this. I got to make these desperate, extreme moves. I'd rather kick out these Levites, because the Levites are going to always be that tie that binds the people back to Judah. So why empower these Levites when they're going to sit back and bring them back to the south anyway? Everything was strategic. Everything was about maintaining his power, but in maintaining his power, he also disconnected our people from the Most High. And this is why the Most High stung Jeroboam so hardcore, because he was responsible for strategically allowing sheep to fall off the cliff. And as leaders, we have to be responsible enough to know that Israel is sheep, and we can't lead them astray. And we have to create as much of a program, as much of an environment that's conducive to learning and moving forward in Christ as possible. So that's what's going on. Now we continue in 2 Kings 17, verse 28.
2 Kings chapter 17 verse 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Most High.
But the funny thing is, this priest that's teaching the people how to fear the Most High is still a tainted view of how to fear the Most High. Because this priest version of fearing the Most High, what did it lead the people into? Captivity anyway. So was this priest's method really that sound? No, the method wasn't sound anyway. Just we want to make sure we understand that point. It's a tainted view and a tainted teaching of the Most High in the first place. Was that?
It was like an attempt, but
it was an attempt, but it was an attempt by the Assyrian government to keep these damn lions from going crazy, but not knowing that the priests of that land didn't know what the hell they were doing anyway. Okay, but also, it's important that this concept is understood. That's why it was so much enmity and beef between the Jews of the south and the Samaritan people that were up north. When we get to John chapter 4, when Christ starts to talk to the Samaritan woman. Because remember when the Samaritan woman said, Abraham, our father. And she starts trying to associate and align herself with the Jews of the South.
That's why Christ also said, he said, as you go preaching to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, he says,
enter not into the city of Samaritans.
City of Samaritans or the Gentiles. Yeah, Matthew chapter 10, verse 5. He said because Christ knew that them Samaritans, and that's why he told that woman, ye woman, you know what
you worship, you know not what.
You worship, you know not what. For salvation is of the Jews. You know, he told her that because the idea is that they're transplants, but she felt like she had some type of inheritance with the land.
Yes. Now, what we're going to read in the Josephus and in St. John 4, because we're going to go there, is that the Samaritans and the people that were transplanted into the northern kingdom area, they flip-flopped their allegiance to the Jews. When the Jews were thriving, they aligned themselves with them. When the Jews were struggling and abased, they would say, we're not with them. We're not with those people. We're not associated. And you could even tell that by the conversation she had with Christ.
Yeah.
She was initially rude and disrespectful. And then once she got checked, she got in line and started saying, oh, we're family, we're brothers and sisters. But it's showing you that was the culture that was established. But the animosity between the two was already there. And the South, the Judites and the Benjamites and the Levites didn't acknowledge their whack faith. Because their whack faith, the little faith they had, was based on false teaching from false priests. That makes sense. Now we understand where the animosity kicks in once we get to the New Testament. Yes, sir.
It's still going on everywhere I go, since I moved out here particularly, but more so. Everybody is 116 Cherokee. I don't know why. Okay, why? That's what I'm kind of comparing it to. It's what it reminds me of.
People want to align themselves with somebody they're really not aligned with. I can see that.
Sense to me, man.
Yep. They could be.
You have Esau
Yeah.
claiming
Yeah.
Cherokee.
Yeah.
That's facts. Cherokee or whatever little tribe,
That's
Navajo.
Esau.
Yeah. And like, I don't see it, Bree. I don't see it, B, at all. Listen, if you say you're 132nd, it's not enough, B. 116th is not enough.
It's always 116.
Yeah, because everybody has a little custard blood in them. All these, there's all little custard droplets in there somewhere. Huh? But anyway, so let's continue in verse 29.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 29. Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own and put them in the houses of the high places.
So even after they were getting taught by these whack priests, all of these people were still going to the same high places that the 9.5 tribes left, and were setting up their own altars and temples to their particular gods that they were aligned with from their previous country.
Wow.
Read on. So they did not sit back here and worry about no lions. They were like, if they die, they die. We will sit back and still go to high places and serve gods.
Yeah.
If they die, they die. That was one of the greatest lines ever, act. I was like, damn, Drago's for real, B. If he dies, he dies. I was like, damn. You know what? But that's how they're rolling now. The priest taught them the fake, bogus way of following the law and observing the laws of the Most High. But these people still went to the high places. These non-Israelite nations went to these high places. Read verse 29 again.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 29. Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own and put them in the houses of the high places, which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt.
There we go. The Samaritans had their high places. The Israelite Samaritans had their high places. These people came in and housed their high places and put their gods in these new high places. Right? Read on.
Verse 30. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth.
Succoth-Benoth. The men of Babylon. So now we know specifically that Babylonians were there. You understand, the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth. Now Succoth-Benoth is Banath means women. So these Babylonian people worship the Astarte cult. You can sit back here and put two and two together. These Babylonians were serving this female deity.
And Sukkot means a booth or a tent or a
Yep.
house.
So it's the house of the women.
Yeah.
That's the Astarte cult. So these Babylonians were brought Astarte into the Assyrian lands. Read on.
Khan. And the men of Cuth made Nergal.
Now we also know that Cuth, we read in this, we saw in this map, that Cuth was in the area centered around Babylon, but that didn't mean they were Babylonian. That was what I was saying. People of Cuth could have been a different culture that was transplanted over there, and we're going to read in Josephus, and it's going to give clarification in that.
It says like the opposite. Actually.
No, Josephus said Cuthite was a different people. They were Persian. So that's the whole point. So we're going to keep going. I know where I'm going with this. So the people of Cutha in Josephus said they were Persian people that were transplanted in that land. So you can't just say Cutha was Babylon. So let's continue.
Khan.
Verse 30.
Khan. And the men of Hamath made Ashima.
No, so the men of Cuth made Nergal. Nergal is the lord of the underworld. So these Cuthite people made gods of the underworld. So you had the feminine Astarte cults, the gods of the underworld was being done up in the Sumerian Empire.
Which is just
it was
like
all
Osiris.
kind of witchcraft.
It's just like Osiris. It's just the same gods, just different names.
God. So let's continue.
Khan. Verse 31.
No, so they made Nergal, which is the lord of the underground. Read on.
And the men of Hamath.
Yeah, it's Hades. It's
Hades.
just different names for the same thing.
Yeah, different nations had their own independent gods that for those designations, right?
Mm-hmm. Then it says the men of Hamath, which was in the region of the city of Syria. Read on.
Made Ashima.
Ashima was a male goat. So it was a goat head.
What's that about?
It was Baphomet angles.
Exactly. And if you look in the book called America, it's a book called America, and it shows you all the Native Americans and their color and how they look, the copper tone people, quote unquote, right? And it shows a picture of what they were worshiping. And they're this square house with wood floors, and everybody's dancing in a circle. And guess who's in the middle? The goat man. The goat man's in the middle. It's a book, I think, from the books by a guy named Augley. But even the Native Americans, I'm not trying to throw them under the bus. They're Israelites. I'm Israelite too, right? We're all Israelites, right? But we were dancing in circles, and we were still in the time period of when America was getting conquered by Esau, or getting explored by Esau at the time. What were we doing in America? Part of our nation was serving the same gods.
Brought the gods over here. The goat.
Exactly.
The traditions of their surroundings.
But remember, Father Crespi, he had an image that was left over, an ancient image. And what was the ancient image? It was a griffin. And what was the griffin from? The Assyrian Empire.
Yeah.
So Gad held on to the Assyrian deities when they were in the Americas. When they got conquered, but they were still in worship of the Assyrian deities.
And the people that are out here in Samaria and the adjoining cities were still following these Babylonian, these different deities, whether it's the female deities, the Lord of the Underground, or whether it's the what Hades, like Shamshawan said, or you're dealing with damn goats and damn you're gonna read some other stuff later. It's horrible. But so Astarte, Lords of the Underground, damn male goats. That's where they got it from. Low Tug,
I was gonna ask, but I was gonna say nothing, man. I thought it had something to do with it.
Nah, but this,
Okay.
we gonna keep it going. So now let's continue it. In verse 31.
Khan.
It's good stuff.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 31. And the Avites
The Avites was Ava, the people from the city of Ava. Read on.
made Nibhaz and Tartak.
Nibhaz and Tartak was a dog and donkey combination. It was
Dog
a dog.
and donkey?
Listen, Nibhaz was a dog and Tartak was a donkey.
Yeah.
Listen. When you
I'm full
sit
of
back
all
here,
that.
there's an image of this of an ancient Babylonian god where it was a huge dog. It was like Clifford. sitting on a chair. Sitting on a chair. Listen, if you look, I don't forget where I find it. It was a huge ass dog like this, with like a body and he was like this, like with big ass floppy damn ears. He was like this. It was a dog head with a human body He was sitting out. It was like Clifford the Big Red Dog, but he was brown. I'm serious, and they had like priests like serving him and sitting back here and giving gifts to him.
That might have been Marduk.
It was probably, listen, that's another name for the same damn dog. Nip-Hots and Marduk, the same damn thing.
That wasn't Marduk.
But listen, there's an image of it. I don't have it on me right now, but these people were serving.
I must say
No, that's not it. That's not it.
That's even worse.
But I like to bring Clifford because he's a big ass dog.
Turn it off.
Clifford, the big ass dog, he's on the seat, and they made him like in this big position. Even people served the dog star.
That's true.
They're sitting back here. They've been serving that spirit for a long time. So the dog, the donkey, this is what these people, the Avites, were. Let me see it. Let's point it to me. That's not the one though. That's not the one. I'm not saying that's not a bad one, but there's literally one where he's sitting back here, sitting like this, and he has his flappy ass ears down like this, and he has his dog snout. I'm like, what's going on here? Why the hell would you choose this as your deity?
Stupid.
I'm serious. I'm gonna try to take one quick second.
So this is kind of like where they got Cerberus from.
Listen, I'm gonna sit back here and try to take a picture of it.
He's sitting down.
What's that?
You say he's sitting down?
Yeah, he was sitting down, He was damn sitting down. Not even lying, bro.
Looked like last
And it wasn't Egyptian. It was like Babylon time, It wasn't Egypt, nothing. Damn it, man. And you know, when you need it, you can't find it.
So what was Tartak, the goat, right?
Yeah, the second name was the goat. So it was a dog and a goat image. Shoot.
What about this guy right here? Because he said this guy was worshipped in Egypt, India, Greece, and China.
But listen, it don't even hit unless it's a certain picture. It's not even worth showing it unless it's the one I'm looking for. If I show it to you, you'll be like, okay, I understand. A war's not just being extra. It was literally it was like a black and white image. And it was a straight like, bro, it was Clifford. This dude was out here posting up. And there were people all around him. I don't know why it's so funny.
It's ridiculous.
It's not. This is what's going on in the streets. This is what was happening in the streets of Samaria.
That's what the game's been missing.
This was happening in the streets of Samaria. Damn it! I don't even.
That's crazy. What you talking about?
Now this is something me and Yashala looked at 2 years ago, man.
Those are remarkable.
What was the image of the deity that with the fire that would you put the people in the fire? What was that on Molech?
Yeah. Oh, I got you.
Because sometimes it comes from that situation.
Okay. In the Egyptian form is this one, right?
Anubis.
Okay. There's the black one up there. That's the
Was
Egyptian. That's the Egyptian.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's what you say. Let me see. This is kind of how it looked. Let me see if I can get this thing.
Yeah, I don't want to say it was human with the dog.
There it goes. I might be able to get it. Eureka.
This world sucks, man.
There it is.
These images are trash. Trash images.
Okay, it's coming in a second, y'all. This is similar to what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
This is it. This is similar. This isn't the exact one I was referring to, but it's damn close. It's online, yo.
It's not exact, but that's.
I saw one with some floppy ass ears, bro.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. That's how it looks. This animal guy has like feet and legs, and he's sitting out. He's got this animal head out. Look at it. If you get a chance, check it out. He's like Clifford body with arms and biceps out. Like he's been knocking out push-ups out and doing sit-ups and squats out. Like, what's he doing? He gets so yoked.
My Lord.
But this is what's going on, and these are the deities they were creating in recognition of these idols, man. Okay? Yeah. So that kind of gives you an idea of what these guys were dealing with. I don't want to put too much energy into it, but that's just a little sneak peek of what was going on in the streets. So, read verse 31 again, sir.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 31. And the Avites made Nabhaz and Tartak. And
So Nabhaz and Tartak was a dog and a donkey. Read on.
And the Sepharvites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of the Sepharvites.
The gods of the Sepharvaim was what this really is, because this was Molech. This image is of Molech. And of Molech, they're sitting back here and burning children to these gods. So this is literally what that is. Okay? So that's what's going on. And all these different nations that were being planted from the Assyrians into Samaria, this is what they were doing. On top of being taught a lame, biased concept of what serving the Most High was all about. Okay? Now, let's continue.
God. Verse 32. So they feared the Most High and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places.
So listen, what they did is this. They listened to these low-level priests that was teaching them, and they just mimicked what Jeroboam told the people in the day, was to get the lowest base of the people and make them priests. So they're just following orders. These people that are transplants followed the same way and pattern that the 9½ tribes were doing when they were choosing out their priests. Read on.
Which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places.
And they said what? It said, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They did all those sacrifices the way that Jeroboam ordained those people to do the sacrifices.
It's kind of like, I'm sorry. It's kind of like some Harry Potter stuff. It's like,
Why is
Slytherin
it
house.
Harry Potter? Yeah, it
Slytherin
was.
House. You're gonna be this house.
You don't want to be Hufflepuff though. Them dudes whack.
Yeah, it's just,
Hufflepuff. I get what you're saying, huh?
Hey, put that on there.
No.
That's kind of great.
You know what the dog is? If you find that dog that's in Mexico, that's native to Mexico, and he's like that sacred dog, he looks like a weird, mangy, kind of like
Sacred dog?
No, he's not.
That's pretty real though. That was pretty real picture.
That's like a dog, like a pinata dog, man. That's like the dog you put on the pinata.
You know they blowing smoke on him. They spitting vodka on him.
Yeah.
They're spitting vodka. That's some old Cuban stuff right there. Yeah.
That's that Babalao right there, right?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
But there's this ancient ancestral like Aztec dog. I can't.
Yeah, a smoking problem.
I sent you one on your email. That one right there. Yeah.
What is another? Yeah, that's the name. I think that's the name. But it's a literal animal that's still a native species to that land. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's a literal physical animal that they sat back and they say it has like godly qualities, some crap like that.
Chihuahua venerated.
It's mangy looking.
And Aztec.
Yes, that's a mangy ass animal.
Right here, this guy.
Yeah, that's him. That's
like
him.
A big chihuahua.
Yeah, that guy is like looked upon like he's like an
like
exotic
an
dog. It does have an Anubis energy to it. But all our people are just connected to these Egyptian and Babylonian gods and goddesses. That.
Oh wow! It says I don't know how to say it in the language of the exotic.
Yeah.
Right. Hundreds of. I tried, bro.
That was not bad.
Hundreds of years ago, the Latin American indigenous group, the Nahuas, believed that a hairless dog like him, a Zequoticus, was a sacred creature who could guide its deceased master through the underworld. But it looks exactly like Anubis.
But Anubis would
It does.
guide you into the underworld.
That's the point.
Type in sacred dog of Mexico.
So they thought it was the
It
reincarnation
looks just like him.
of that Egyptian.
But they still took all of these different deities from the old ways, huh?
Wow.
That's interesting.
We won't let it go, bro. We won't stop.
Listen, we're gonna put
You
the
won't
image
stop.
of this animal like.
You won't stop,
But
bro.
Issachar, I want you to say that thing again.
Say the name.
Say that. Tell the story. Tell the story again. This is. It's like a hairless, crazy, mangy mud-ot that all these people that looks like that dog head guy that in all those Egyptian pictures.
Zoli Tikuntu.
Let him say it and then you say the rest of the stuff. Right? Well,
You say
he
it?
sounded more awesome. Say it again.
Solo is twinkly.
Oh, he's the guy.
Let's keep going.
He got it. He's good with that.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years ago, the Latin American indigenous group, the Nahuatls, believed that a hairless dog like him, you got the name, bro,
Zolo is quintily. Zolo is quintily. I remember.
Okay, let's
that
keep
now.
going. Let's keep going.
was a sacred creature
Wow.
who could guide its deceased master through the underworld.
And that goes all the way back into the time of the Egyptian belief system. So our people carried all that belief system all the way across the waters, all the way to the Americas. But it just shows you that same spirit of idolatry stayed in the country of Samaria even after the 9.5 tribes left.
And that is this say a pointless point that's already pretty known. Samaria is the capital city of the 9.5 tribes.
Yes, so that was the hub and the central part of the country.
Reset that.
Yes,
Come.
but that includes Galilee. Galilee was flooded with these Samaritan type people. It wasn't just Samaria. So when Christ was going to Galilee, it was full of non-Israelite people. That entire region was non-Israelite people. Just so we can understand that. So
That's crazy.
now let's continue, Kariah. We are in verse 32 now.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 33.
I need you to raise your voice. I just want to make sure we can hear it.
32.
Con.
You say that?
I want 32.
On 32 again, con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 32. So they feared the Most High and made unto themselves of the lowest of the priests of the high places,
Got it.
which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Most High and served their own gods.
So did they really fear the Most High?
Wow.
If they're doing both?
No.
So what they just added another god to the 15 guys they had. Now they got 16 guys. So now they started honoring a little bit of the Most High and sprinkled it in with their foundation of idolatry. But that's just what we did when we got to Assyria. Remember, Tobit said, "I did not eat the bread of the Gentiles, but my brothers did." They partook of the entire customs of the Assyrian people. So what they did is kept their belief, their half-assed belief in the Most High, and just tacked on different concepts that they learned as they were in these different countries and sections of the world. This is what the culture of the society was kind of going towards anyway. Just adapting the cultures and belief systems of other people as you continue to evolve and run across different nations and religions. God. Well, let's keep going.
Con. After the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence.
Yep.
Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Most High, neither do they after their statutes.
Now listen. This is where the writing kind of gets confusing. Because 33, 34, 32, 33, 30, and 31, they all talk about the nations and all the things they did and how they started learning a little bit about the Most High, but they still did their own laws, right? They had their own gods on top of learning about the Most High a little bit, right? Now read verse 34 again from the top.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 34.
Don't forget, you have to keep in context where the conversation is. The conversation is fixated on the non-Israelite people living in Samaria that were following their gods, and they were learning how to fear the Most High, right?
Con.
Read on.
Unto this day they do after the former manners.
So even now, they were doing after the former manners.
Unto this day.
But I need to make sure we read this thing through thoroughly before we explain.
I'm just
Read on.
Con. They fear not the Most High, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment, which the Most High commanded the children of Jacob, who he named Israel.
So listen, read on.
With whom the Most High had made a covenant and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods.
Stop. Did the Most High make a covenant with these new people in Samaria?
No, he made a covenant with the land.
He made a covenant with the people.
What people in the land?
He made a covenant with the people. He didn't make a covenant with the land. He made a covenant with the people. The contract was with the people, not the land. Now, when you break the law, you're dishonoring the land, but the covenant, the contract, was with the seed of Abraham. This is important. Read verse 34 again, because the tone of this writing changes in 34 and 35.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 34. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Most High.
But listen, were the nations supposed to fear the Most High at this time?
Not at that time.
No. So we're not talking about the seraphims, the people from the city of Ava and Hamath and Kuthah and Babylon. We're talking about what this is letting us know is that there's still Israelites of the northern kingdom on a small level that's scattered up in this northern tribal region at the time then. What this verse 34 and 35 down is explaining is that not every single northern kingdom Israelite left. The majority left, but there were still some sprinkled that weren't captured. Because he's saying, unto this day, they do not after the former manners. Read on.
They fear not the Most High.
They don't fear the Most High. Read on.
Neither do they after their statutes.
They're not following the statutes. Read on.
Or after their ordinances.
They're not following their ordinances. These nations weren't given laws and statutes.
Nope.
Psalms tells you that.
147.
So who's the ones that are in this country that still weren't following the ordinances? It was us who were still there. Read on.
Or after the law and commandment which the Most High commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel.
He is talking about these Israelites still that were in the land didn't follow the laws and ordinances that were previously given to them. Read on.
Verse 35. With whom the Most High had made a covenant.
The Most High made a covenant with his people. Read on.
And charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them.
So he just explained how these other nations were taking these high places on. They were pushing all of their demonology and their sacrifices of idols and all that stuff, along with learning about how to fear the Lord. But now with the tone switch is about these people also weren't keeping my covenants that I gave them. The children of Israel. The children of Israel is being talked about right here because the nations weren't given the covenants.
Nope, never.
Read on. If we got to go there, we can go there. Either Psalms 147, 19 and 20. But let's keep going.
Verse 36. But the Most High.
Matter of fact. Yeah, keep going. I'm sorry. Yes.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 36. But the Most High who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and
he's talking about, who was he talking about that he brought out of Egypt?
It wasn't the nation.
It wasn't the nations?
Yeah.
It was us.
He's talking about the 9.5 tribes.
Not definitely not the nation.
He's talking about the 9.5 tribes
So
at this point.
this is proof
That there were
About
still
nations.
some Israelites that were still sprinkled there in the northern kingdom that didn't all the way leave. Doesn't say how many, but there were still sprinkled 9.5 there still. And it also gives understanding as by the time we had Josiah, who had another Passover, he invited the northern kingdom to come down and partake in it. How in the hell was Josiah able to invite the northern kingdom if there was no damn northern kingdom people there?
Exactly.
This lets you know there was still a small remnant of northern kingdom up in the land, Just the majority were taken up. Does that make sense?
Con.
Okay, let's keep going.
Con. Him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice. And the statutes, and the ordinances, and the law, and the commandment, which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore. And ye shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you, ye shall not forget. Neither shall ye fear other gods. But the Most High, your power, ye shall fear. And he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner.
He's still saying they didn't listen, and they still stuck to their old ways, even after the Most High took the majority of their population out of the country.
Which shows how stubborn we are on both ends.
Kinda.
Judah do the same thing, bro.
Yeah.
Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Most High can destroy us. Cops beat us down, kill us, flood the whole city. On Katrina, many times I remember this. Katrina happened. They were have to have a gay parade before Katrina. Flood the whole city up. And when the people came from Katrina, we were in the mall, we were counseling and teaching and selling oils and trying to heal people. And people were still in there. I'm going back to New Orleans. I'm going back the way it was. I don't like this lifestyle where I can't be in my native land. I get that, but they want to go back to the same activities they were doing previous to the flood.
They said it was born here.
It was born here. It's too peaceful. It's slow. They have a whole new life. You have a new life. You got checks coming.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Not all.
Go back. A lot of the people that fled, the devastation, looked at it as a fresh start. Because at the time, New Orleans was a murder capital.
Yeah.
And a lot of them said, you know what, they don't need for me to go back. But the lifestyle was so ingrained in the people that they felt like San Antonio was too slow. Houston was too slow. They sent them to Santa Fe, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I mean, we met people from New Orleans all over, man. When we head out there. Florida, they sent some to Florida. Miami, Florida, yeah. Oklahoma City. But some of them took it as a fresh start, man. So we're gonna start over. Yeah. But some of the people's like, I gotta get back to New Orleans. I gotta get back to what I'm used to.
The ones I met were when I was downtown. Downtown's a little more wild in San Antonio. They're like, man, we ain't taking this, bro. We gonna go back. We're gonna go back and get back that same lifestyle.
And it's destroyed. It destroyed the people back in.
And it went right back to the murder capital.
It was boxing the streets. It was boxing. Said, we taking over. We taking over. They was in bus stops. They were on buses going to war. Issachar was going to war with Levi. It was Levi out there.
Here when they right away gave them homes.
Yeah.
On, what is this? Eisenhower Walsham area. Not even a month, it was already killing over there.
Yep.
Because I remember the smell was all the way to HEB on Montgomery. The smell.
Come on, bro.
And it was brothers, dead.
Yeah. Sad, bro.
Yeah, that's
how do you do that?
They wasn't letting it go, bro.
It was their lifestyle.
And people were fighting over drug territory because remember in Houston, they wasn't having Dallas, Houston. This is our block now. Like, cats like, no, we selling dope here too.
Yeah.
There's no mixing that because you start hearing that accent, Judah and Houston, and I think it's Levi. It's my personal opinion. Levi from out there because they came from the French.
Mostly.
Right? They wasn't getting along,
There's Judah
bro.
out there too.
Oh, ain't that much?
There's some pure Judah out there too. It ain't just Levy out. It ain't just Levy. I'll tell you that right now. I'm sorry. The little Wayne's out there, the pure Judites out. The babies out. You know damn well they Judah. Baby's Judah. Stop that. Baby is Judah.
Oh, you trying to?
Soldier Slim is Judah. All of them Judah. Master P is straight Judah. Come on now.
Hey, man.
I'm just being
If they do that voodoo out, they leave out.
Okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that. I'm not denying that. But you can't deny that there's a lot of Judites out there in New Orleans.
Yeah, bro. Wolves was out there, bro.
Anyway.
They're out there. And it was just a lot of dissension. And I get getting kicked out of your home is different. But I'm kicked out of my home. I'm trying to find the old spirit I was into. It's no different than people from Chicago. They go to smaller towns because they're trying to hide out from, but they come to certain cities and they're looking for that same spirit, like all people do. When it comes to addiction,
But you're not ready to change.
the Most High made me change by situation, but my spirit wasn't ready to change.
Yep.
That's how Israel be. Most High will do situations in our life. He'll crash cars. He'll cause all kind of issues in the household, and we'll sit here and we're not really comfortable because we haven't accepted the Most High's will. So you can tell in the scriptures we were conquered, overthrown. We weren't comfortable because we didn't accept the Most High's will. It's the same battle with Israel today.
So, read verse 41, and then we're going to jump to the Josephus.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 41. So these nations feared the Most High and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers. So do they unto this day.
So once again, you read about talking about the nations, the focus on the nations. Then it focuses on Israel that was still in small populations there. Then at the end it wraps up with the fact that just in totality, the nations kept following their idolatrous practice to that day. Which means they really weren't serving the Most High. They really weren't honoring the Most High the way they were supposed to be honored. And that was what created that enmity and beef during the time of Christ between the Samaritans and the Hebrews. What we're going to do now is go to Josephus book, Josephus book 9, paragraph 14. Chapter 14, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Paragraph 3. So Josephus, book 9, chapter 14, paragraph 3.
Okay. Page 265.
Now, we're going to go back on this map. Check out this. I'm bringing that dog.
Yeah, put that other dog on that.
Listen, I'm going to try. The point's past though. We're ready past the dogs and the goats and the sheep and all that stuff. Okay, so we're looking on the map. Cutha. We're talking about Cutha now. All right, so read that.
The Antiquity of the Jews, book 9, chapter 14, paragraph 3. But now the Cuthians, who removed into Samaria, for that is the name they have been called by to this time, because they were brought out of the country called Cutha, which is a country of Persia.
It's a country of Persia, not Babylon. And that was why I said we had to make sure before we claim these people are definitely of a certain city, make sure we take the time to do the research. Cutha, the Cuthites were Persians or had Persian background to them. Read on.
And there is a river of the same name in it, each of them according to their nations, which were in number 5, brought their own gods into Samaria, and by worshiping them, as was the custom of their own countries, they provoked Almighty Most High to be angry and displeased at them. For a plague seized upon them, by which they were destroyed.
It was a goddamn, excuse my French, plague of lion's eye. That is not a cool plague eye. But keep going.
And when they found no cure for their miseries,
Of course.
they learned by the oracle that they ought to worship Almighty Most High.
It always goes back to that, bro. When America got bombed, quote unquote, by Osama bin Laden and his crew, quote unquote, right? If you believe that.
There's a big quote unquote there.
Yeah, if you really believe that.
Hint.
If you
Like
really believe that. You know what I'm saying? I was Jake at the time. Shawan in the war with the malls back in the day, and I remember I was going crazy. I thought they were going to crash into every tall building. I thought, what? Every building you see, they're going to crash into it, right? And brothers also said that it was standing room only.
Yeah. It was only about about a good 6 people in class.
Yeah.
September 10th, 2001.
Yes.
I mean, 2001.
Yeah.
September 10th, it was about 10 people, like 6 people in class.
Come.
September 11th happened. September 12th, it was standing room only in class.
Yeah.
There wasn't even enough seats for everybody. People standing against the wall, bro.
Yeah.
It's almost like it takes a tragedy for our people to wake up and start taking things.
And that was a
serious.
big school we had.
That was building was
Was nice size.
Phenomenal
Nice size.
size school, and you got a standing room only in that size school.
yeah.
That was like, oh, where all this belief come from?
Yeah.
Well, the Lord is strong in this San Antonio right now.
There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of fear, bro.
Listen, bro, we only believe in the Most High. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying when it's that uncertainty.
Con.
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna go back to work.
Yeah.
I don't know if my job's gonna be there tomorrow.
Right.
I don't know if my money gonna be there. I don't know if everything about to shut down. That's that pre-panic mode.
Yeah.
I'm about to panic, but I'm really just trying to see what everybody's about to do first. See what we gonna do first.
Yeah.
What you gonna do
about
That's
it?
not what y'all gonna do. Is what we doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because then it's that pre-panic mode.
Yeah.
Then you see people moving off fear all of a sudden.
Uh,
But that urgency wasn't there prior to that disaster.
Yeah.
You know?
Con.
Same thing with it happens that way all the time. But
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen that way soon. In months to come, I would imagine that. Because I'm gonna tell you this economy is not getting no better. That's what's gonna hit this place before bombs, all that bombs and thermonuclear destruction. We're gonna see how Israel's gonna act when everybody's money's tight.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take real unity and selflessness and togetherness to get through this. That's gonna be a true determining factor to see, do people really believe in these scriptures or not?
Huh.
That day is coming sooner than later. And we're all going to be proven in that point. But let's continue in Antiquities.
Line 289. For a plague seized upon them, by which they were destroyed. And when they found no cure for their miseries, they learned by the oracle that they ought to worship Almighty Most High as the method for their deliverance. So they sent ambassadors to the king of Assyria and desired him to send some of those priests of the Israelites whom he had taken captive. And when he thereupon sent them, and the people by them taught the laws and the holy worship of the Most High, they worship him in a respectful manner.
It was respectful, but it wasn't diligent. Read on.
And the plague ceased immediately. And indeed, they continue to make use of the very same customs to this very time.
Read on.
And are called in the Hebrew tongue Kuthians, but in the Greek Samaritans.
The Greeks called these Kuthians, which were Persians, Samaritans. Read on.
And when they see the Jews in prosperity,
So when the Jews are on the upswing, when they're getting respect and adulation, whether it was during the time of the Greeks, when they were on the upswing. Read on.
they pretend that they are changed and allied to them.
Allied to them.
Allied.
So when there was times when the Greeks were in good standing with the Hebrews, then these Samaritans said, "Oh yeah, I'm all about it. We're Jews too. We're Jews too." Read on.
And called them kinsmen, as though they were derived from Joseph.
And this is what the Hebrews have a problem with. You acting like we're brothers and we ain't brothers. Just because you were taught by some whack priest, some basic breakdowns, don't make you part of us.
Okay.
Read on.
And had by that means an original alliance with them. But when they see them falling into a low condition,
For example, Epiphanies. What's the guy's name? The Greek guy. Antiochus Epiphanes. When he was sitting back here and doing a manhunt of the Hebrews. When they were sitting back here killing Hebrews. We're going to see what these Samaritans said. Read on.
they say they are no way related to them.
They're flip-flopping on them.
Yeah.
When the Greeks was praising them and working with them, we're brothers. Brother.
Yeah.
But when all of a sudden the Jews are public enemy number one, I ain't no Jew. I'm a Samaritan. I am from Kuta. I have roots in Kuta. I am Persian blood. When it doesn't benefit them to be Jews, they switch on us.
You know, Arabs do it too.
Yep.
Arabs do it too when you're spending money with them.
Yep.
When you're spending money at the gas station, you're spending money at the
At the
jewelry.
Quickie Mart.
At the jewelry, you're buying gold. Brother.
Yeah.
My nigga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to call us cousin.
Yeah, cousin, brother.
Cousin.
They'll tell us that even when they had on a little store by the old school we had, they'll say, no tax for the Jews. No tax for the Jews.
They would say that. They would tell us that.
Yeah, they would
no
tell
tax
us
for the Jew.
We go to that little corner store, no tax for the Jews.
Yeah.
They know what's up. When you're spending money, you cool, you brothers.
Yeah.
You're not spending money, you
Nigga.
No, you're infidel. You're the infidel.
Yes.
You know, according to the Quran, you're an infidel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like the worst you can call somebody in the Quran. Yeah. You're infidel.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not spending no money.
Exactly. But but he's saying that these Samaritans flip-flopped on us, and this is where that animosity had been building and festering to the time we got to Christ. Because don't forget, we had already gone through the Greek Empire, and these Samaritans was flipping on us. You can only imagine that the Samaritans was flipping on us even when the Babylonian took us out from the southern kingdom. You don't read about the Samaritans going up there to Babylon. That was when they said, no, we ain't them. That ain't us. Those is Jews.
Yeah.
I am from Kuta. Whatever you want, Babylon, we're closer kin to you than they are. You know, they was pulling their little political cards. So since this time on, they were flip-flopping based on if it was an advantage to them. Okay, read on.
And that the Jews have no right to expect any kindness or marks of kindred from them, but they declare that they are sojourners that come from other countries.
So they say we're sojourners.
Right.
Then they break off that citizenship angle, and now I'm just a wandering traveler. Read on.
But of these we shall have a more seasonable opportunity to discourse hereafter.
So it was important to kind of understand the backdrop of how things work. So what we're going to do now is go to Matthew 10, verse 5 through 7.
It's like that group that came. Remember, they dressed themselves up as in poor clothing.
Yeah. And they suck it. They suck it up.
They suck it up. I forgot who king
it was. No, it was Joshua. They suck at Joshua.
They suck at Joshua. Yeah, dressed up in poor clothes.
And so we have walked such a long journey.
Yeah, from a far country. Yeah.
And it was really down the street.
Yeah, they was really around the corner and shit.
That's great. Yes, sir.
The only thing was, it doesn't really give the detail, but I guess what was kind of confusing is when it said the priests of the Israelites, because they don't make that distinction that these weren't actually Levites.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the only thing that was.
Well, it doesn't go into distinction, but you have to dig for it.
Right.
And if they're going to sit back here, and if I'm the Assyrian king, do I give a shit if it's Levi or whatever? I'm asking for priests. And the priests of that country and that place were of the basest sort. This guy ain't sitting back saying, I want Levites. They didn't give two craps about that. This guy is trying to control a political situation to make sure this incident is under control so there's peace in the empire. So there's no way you can sit back and it's just, you can't say it's Levites. Because they had kicked out Levites from the inception of the northern kingdom having priests at all. So you have 200 years of bogus priests. Why would they start changing up and bring Levites in there now? It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Okay, don't forget, it was a 200-year process. How many generations of priests was it? At least 5, maybe 6. But obviously they had created families and groups of people and systems and operations in place. That ain't changing anytime soon. So those weren't Levites. There's no way I'm gonna say Levites.
That's like in 100 years, Michael Jordan gonna be white man.
Yep, Michael Jackson too.
Yeah, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Exactly. That's crazy. So let's go to Matthew 10. Was that? Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 through 7.
Matthew chapter 10, and verse 5 through 7. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
He specifically pointed out those Samaritans as people not to even deal with. Now we even understand it. They're not to be trusted. They're not to establish any kindred and alliances.
They're fair weather friends.
They're fair weather friends, and they're going to sit back here and they'll cut your throat if they have to. They'll turn their back on you to sustain themselves if they have to. So Christ is like, don't even deal with these guys. They're not straight up people, and they act like they're a part of us, but they're not.
You know that's true, because you look at Moab, Chinese. You look at the Koreans. You look at Elam. they'll take your money in your neighborhood. They'll take your hair salons, your nail salons, your beauty products, your gold, your jewelry, your Slurpee machines. They take your money, your little whatever you use every day. They sell you cigarettes, beer, whatever, lotto tickets. But they don't come to your neighborhood and spend money with you. You don't see them eating in your restaurants. You don't see them eating and spending money in your communities, in your neighborhoods. They send that money back to their own community, to their people. So they'll extort you in a heartbeat and use you for their benefit. But when it's time to pay on the other end, they don't want nothing to do with you.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? They don't want to spend no money with you. You know what I'm saying? But they'll spend money with anybody else. But they won't spend money with you. That's how you know they'll use you for their benefit. That's how these other nations are.
And this is where Christ is even saying, avoid these people.
Yeah.
Because they're going to sit back here, and if it benefits them, they're going to align themselves with you.
Right.
But when it doesn't, they're going to turn their back and disavow you. Okay?
You know, I remember walking into a store here. It's a wholesale store, and you got to have an EIN business license to walk in. You know, they only sell to contractors and vendors and people with business licenses. So I walk in, and it's a wholesale store. I'm looking for some frankincense and myrrh. It's a wholesale store for gas stations. So all the people that buy into gas stations, these Persians, they go to this wholesale market and they get all their products to put in to set up the gas station. So I'm going in looking for some frankincense and myrrh. I got the business license in my hand. But as soon as I walk in, no. I said, man, I got the license. No. Man, they pushed me out the door.
Wow.
You know, because they don't want you. They don't want you. They don't give a damn if you got the business license. They don't want to do business with you because they don't want you to impede on their. That's their business. Their job is to set themselves up and take care of their people. They don't want you coming in getting the discounted Laffy Taffies. The discounted whatever it is they selling at the damn gas station. Yes, sir.
You couldn't pull the 16th?
The who? No, the 116th? No. You know what? As soon as they see me come in with the afro, bro, I had the afro, they already knew. No. I'm just saying, that's how these people deal with you. That's how they really look at you. And it's a damn shame. And it bothers me a lot that our people spend our money with these people. You know what I'm saying? That bothers me. You go to the flea market, you look around the damn Chinese gold counter, all our people is around the damn Chinese gold counter. Yeah. You know, getting fake 10%, 10 karat gold teeth. That gold ain't even real. You know what I'm saying?
You put metals in your body.
Yeah, they put metal alloys, all kind of alloys. You wonder why your body breaking down.
No doubt.
Or you go to their spots, bro, you spending all this money, but if you come back, when it's time to patronize you and what you got going on, they don't patronize you. They don't spend their money with you. They don't spend it. No, they don't deal with you. So that's why I said our people got to wake up. That's how you know this is the truth. Not just back then, but it's still relevant today. God.
Verse 6.
Vexing that.
Kinda. So let's keep going.
It says, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So he says, instead of focusing your mind on some pretending ass Israelites that want to act like they're your brother, but they're not, go to your people. Read on.
Verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
The kingdom is to the rightful owners or the rightful heirs of the Israelite nation, not for these converts who have a half-witted approach to knowing the Most High. And this lets you know, just because people are converts, don't make them accessible to being a Jew. That's what this goes into, because these Samaritans were quote-unquote converts that had an idea of how to respect the law. Just because you know some scriptures and breakdowns, if your nationality isn't a Hebrew and the Most High is not choosing you, Christ ain't choosing. Okay? Next verse. By that time, we're going to go to St. John chapter 4. St. John chapter 4 and verse 5. St. John 4 and 5. We're going to read through 23. Then we're going to go into Hezekiah. Okay, St. John 4, verse 5. Okay, we gotta get somebody else moving in. Not hot. That's right.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemai Wan, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Nagaha, Shah Shabbatah, Ban Shemai Wan, Ban Yasha'Allah. I mentioned. Yahweh Hashem Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatham.
I gotta say just one more thing, bro. That should burn me up.
We gonna talk about what
You know,
bad business organizations.
man, you know what? I gotta say this, right? Eat me up.
I'm gonna tell you what, man.
I'd rather go to a spot that don't really want me there, that let me know we don't serve your kind, than for you to pretend like you care about me just for my money's sake. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got these
Brother, they're trying to skip the conversations, right?
Brother. You know, they play gospel music in the Korean hair salon. That's all I want to say. Why you gotta play gospel music in a Korean hair salon?
That's horrible.
Come on,
you know damn well they into that music, guy. They just playing that to make the customers happy.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. But our people just blowing bread in there.
Yep.
But anyway, it pissed me off, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, St. John 4:5. Matter of fact, you might as well give me verse 4. Matter of fact, hold on. Just read 3.
John chapter 4, verse 3. He left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria.
Okay, this is Christ having to go through the city of Samaria. Read on to get to Galilee. Read on.
Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of the ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Yahushua therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well. And it was about the 6th hour. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water.
So 6 hours, like 12 noon, right? I think so. Yes. Let's keep going.
Yahushua said unto her, give me to drink.
So Christ talked to this woman to Samaria and said, I'm thirsty, give me some water. So pretty much go and get this well, bring a bucket down, draw down the well, pull up the water, so I can get something to drink. Read on.
For his disciples were going away unto the city to buy meat.
And he was tired. Read on. He said he was weary. Read on.
Verse 9. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest to drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
So once again, now her sitting back here and drawing this water for this guy doesn't benefit her at all. So she's going to pull the card saying, we're not supposed to deal at all. Why are you asking me for water when Jews don't deal with Samaritans? Right. She's pulling that card because it's not to her advantage to side with Christ at this moment.
To go out of her way either.
Because that's the point. So since I don't want to go out of my way, I'm going to pull the card of the Jews don't deal with Samaritans. We're going to keep it about the law. We're going to keep it business. And if we're keeping it business, I'm not supposed to even talk to you because we're not connected like that. You have your people, I have my people. This is how she's rolling. Read on.
Verse 10. Yahushua answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of the Most High, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink.
If you knew that you was talking to Christ and the reward that you'd get for just getting off your ass and getting the bucket and putting it in the water and bring it up to me, right, you will be tripping if you knew that who you was giving this water to and the reward that will come from you doing this for me. Read on.
Thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
After you would have gave me a sip of water, I would have gave you living water. I would have gave you something to keep your spirit going for the rest of your life. Read on.
Verse 11. The woman said unto him, Sir.
Now it's sir. Now it's sire.
Yeah.
Good sire. Because he's sitting back here cutting.
Sire is short for king. Sire is another word for king.
God. So now she's saying sir. She's in a respectful tone. Now she's responding. Exactly. Read on.
The woman said unto him, Sir. thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is
You
deep.
getting English on us now? You see, his tone changed now. The reader's tone changed. Like, good sir.
Now she's willing to draw.
Sire.
Now she's willing to draw.
He's like, wherewith, me liege,
Where's your cup?
am I to put and to bring down to cometh up the water with no compass?
Thing.
With no water. With no water. I just have you hear me say if it was right. Water. Is that how you say it? I'm not sure. Let me know what's up. It's water.
Water.
It's water. It's water. It's water. Water. There you go. I
lived over there.
Water. That's it. I'm gonna start talking with that stuff. I'm gonna sit back and flip on y'all, man. And say, there ain't no water. There ain't no water.
I did it for a month.
Some of them
That's
say
crazy.
Water.
That's crazy. So she's like, there's no way for me to draw this water.
God.
I'm a mess. I gotta just stick to how I talk. There's no way to draw this water out. But keep going,
Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with.
See, you brought it out of me, with your change of and the fluctuations of your voice as you read that. Read on that.
And the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
So now you know what's happening. Now all of a sudden there is an incentive.
There's an incentive, right?
To get this water. Where is this living water that he's talking about? Right. Now let's start talking about the fact that we're family. We're together. We're cousins. We're family now.
Yeah.
Because he threw out there about this living water. Now she wants in.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But he's telling. Listen, Josephus just said this is how the Samaritans roll. They only mess with the Jews when there's a benefit to come from it.
Yep.
Makes so much more sense.
And she was like, if there's no benefit, I'm not spending no time with you.
Or energy.
Energy, spirit. I can gain something from this interaction. So let me be respectful now. That was the game they used to play the Jews. And the crazy thing is, like Shamshawan brought out, the parallel is a lot of Jews fell for it hook and sinker. Why would they be able to keep doing this tactic if we weren't falling for it?
We do a fall for it now.
That's what Shamshawan was bringing out. How we were falling for the okie doke, the fake love back then, and we follow the fake love now. These nations.
Every 4 years, we fall for this fake love.
Or you see the Koreans beating up the women that they think they're stealing. And you got your phone out, you ain't doing nothing, but you watching on your phone. Right. You won't beat the hell out this Chinese man or Asian man, Korean, because he beating up this black woman because he thinks he's stealing, taking the babies out the stroller because they think they got something in the stroller.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they're moving the babies out the stroller, getting crazy with it.
Out of bounds, way out of bounds.
And you got men that's just standing there watching.
World Star.
And then you still in line to get your grease and your comb.
Oh hell no, bro.
Your do rags and your shampoo.
Yeah, man, she was tripping, wasn't she?
Yeah.
It's crazy, huh?
You got watching get thrown around like a rag doll.
Yeah, but this is how our people operate. We're gullible. Most psychologists sheep.
Yep.
We just fall through and lock in. Whatever's in front of us, we just lock into it. It's almost like the more, this is Israel. The more you lie to them, the more you BS them, the more they follow it.
Just give them our products.
But when you tell somebody the truth, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
That's really how they roll.
I'm not sure about this.
This is what Isaiah talked about. Speak unto me smooth things.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, prophesy lies unto me. The nations understood if I lie to them, I BS them, I tell them what they want to hear, they'll lock in. I'm always smiling. I play their favorite coon music. They'll keep spending music to me. Or they'll spend money to me. But if you tell your people the truth, all of a sudden you're a threat. I'm not comfortable around you. I don't know if I can trust you because you're direct and you tell people what's going on. The nations understand the game. When it benefits me, let's play the game with these Jews. When it doesn't benefit me, I'm going to disrespect them and they're going to keep learning and they're going to keep trying to follow and please us. Because that's what the nations do. They constantly disrespect us and we keep coming back to support and patronage them.
Gucci. Yeah. They could put a blackface picture and put it on a shirt, and a Jew still wear it too.
Or Tommy Hilfiger. Yeah. Remember Tommy Hilfiger said my clothes wasn't meant for black folks to wear.
In Mexico.
The only person that stopped wearing Hilfiger was Pimp C.I. He was the only guy that stopped wearing Hilfiger, right? Everybody else just shrugged it off and put it on again.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody. You get my point. He didn't really lose no money. Black folks kept buying that guy regardless. Yeah, that's how we operate. You can sit back here and get dissed and clown. We'll come right back to you.
Oh, they put it on a shirt. The coolest monkey in the jungle.
Yeah, man. That was horrible out there. They had a little black kid smiling and shucking and jiving out.
Yep.
So they had a little conversation about it. They might have had NAACP write a letter, send an email, and everybody went about business like it was normal.
Still shopping.
And you know all they did? Let me send some money to the NAACP. Say sorry.
Which is owned by white Jews.
I know that, but that's the whole point. They play the game. Okay, yeah.
It's so stupid.
The coolest monkey in jungle was a little bit out of bounds. I'm gonna throw $25K at your favorite charity. My bad, man.
Yeah.
And all is forgiven.
All is forgiven.
And you go back as business as usual, bro. And you should tax write-off anyway, so they don't lose anything anyway.
Yeah.
They was gonna give up that $25,000 regardless.
That was charity.
There's already a charity allotment that all these companies have to cut down their tax payments. It's all game. I know we're gonna sit back here for every dollar that you give us, we're gonna match it and give to these little African people in Chad. They was gonna get the money up anyway. They're not special. They're not honorable. Anyway, let me stop.
You know.
They were giving it up anyway. They got to give it up at around October, November, because that's when the fiscal year starts. So they got to sit back here and set it up anyway. That's when you're supposed to sit back and apply for grants, October, November, because that's when the money gets out. But they got to sit back and give all the money out before December ends. So all the money is it's a hot money giveaway from October to December. That's what they do. I got to get rid of this money as soon as possible, so we don't got to get hit on these taxes. Because by then they'll know, okay, we're looking at a profit. So how can I sit back here and micromanage the maximum profit while giving out the smallest amount of taxes available? So maybe if I'm giving out this tax money, I can give it to a cause where it looks like I'm eco-friendly, where I care about the kids or the water.
Yep.
And I'll get more business by giving away money I was going to already give away anyway for tax write-offs.
You're supposed to advertise it.
Yeah, it is. And PR.
Yeah.
But once again, we're just kind of showing how the nations, and not just these Samaritans, the nations operate with us. They align with us when it benefits them. But when we're down and out, they back off of us. Exactly. And we keep going to them. We keep serving them. Yeah. We keep trying to be like them. Now, Christ is checking her. And then when he checks her, and he dangles the opportunity for living water to actually spiritually grow, now she's intrigued. Now she's all in. Now she wants to sit back and talk about Abraham, our father.
Ouch.
Abraham wasn't their father in the first place. Never was.
No.
So where are we at in John?
We're in verse 12. Jacob. Our father
Jacob, not Abraham. Con. Read on, because it's Jacob's well. Read on.
John chapter 4, verse 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself and his children?
Real
and
quick,
his cattle?
to answer your question on philanthropy, if you dress it the right way, the monies you was going to use in your philanthropic pursuits would have been the money you was going to give to charities anyway. So it's how you allocate your funds, which creates the illusion that you care about the kids, but that money was already going to be having to give it to a charity regardless. So it's how you direct your funds and your money.
That's how you identify it on your taxes. Whether this is a write-off or this is an expense.
Yep.
You still want to make sure you get money back in return and write off as much debt as possible, because anybody with a business knows that you get taxed at 30%.
Yep.
Business taxes are 30%.
It's not fun, bro.
It's 30% taxes. So you gotta try to get some write-offs.
It's double taxation, and you got these crazy write-offs.
Yeah.
And 30% tax.
And your boy Bill Gates, what he'll do is he'll do quote unquote philanthropic work, right? And he'll go to different countries and set up different organizations, and he'll claim it's philanthropy, and the money is philanthropic, right, in that land. But really, it's where he set up his next business.
Right.
It's really where. So this was Indian woman puts this out on I think on
YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
But she was like, listen, this guy is not a philanthropic guy. This guy, everywhere he does philanthropy, is actually his next business move.
He has investments in those.
Yeah, it's not philanthropy. It's a business cover he's using. And it's basically it's free for him.
And what he's doing, he's taking his profits and putting it into his what do you call those things?
NGRs?
It's
Holding companies?
No.
CDs.
No. Okay, stop, y'all. That was like 3 answers just taking my mind off the message. Like, stop it. Damn.
Let me think.
I can't think. I can't think. I can't process the information. NGOs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Like, damn. Stop it. Damn. Okay, it was gosh darn it, man. Now I'm really lost on this point.
Bill Gates.
It was Bill Gates was taking his profits and putting it into his they're not charities, but they're what are those organizations called? It's your charitable organizations. And he could put this, so profits going into his charities, and that well they're non-profits and they're charities, but they're taking monies and he's switching it from one place to another, but it's still benefiting his bottom line. That's all. That's the whole point. We don't got to make it deep, but how you set up your shell companies and your LLCs and your S corps and all that good stuff. There's ways to get away from paying taxes. There's loopholes. And it's not charitable foundation I'm looking for. It is a family foundation. No, it's not trust, but it's a family. It is a trust. Family trust, family foundations is how most of these elites keep their money without getting taxed. Family foundations. It is how like your high-end families keep their bread, because you don't have to. You can sit back and spend some of the money without getting hit on taxes. And it's a lot to it, and I really can't even explain it. But that's how elites kind of keep their bread.
And these trust funds are untouched.
Yeah.
They're untouched, and you don't have to report. You don't have to report those trust funds.
Okay.
And then you get to borrow. Off that trust fund.
Yep.
You know, somebody broke it down on YouTube.
I'm saying it the wrong way too. It's not a trust fund. It's a family. I think it's a family foundation. It's in that breadth of dynamic.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation?
Something that allows you to breathe.
Yes, the Bill and Melinda Gates Family Foundation. It's a family foundation. It's how you can funnel a lot of your money in that path without getting taxed.
That's how Jeff Bezos could pay no taxes at all.
Exactly.
No taxes.
It's laughable.
Yeah, it's a joke. You're top ranking company in the world.
You're just climbing people.
You pay 0 taxes.
Yeah. And Joe Schmo is spending 5 G's on a regular damn thing.
Family Foundation Trust.
Yeah, that's what it is. Family Foundation Trust. It's those are the words. I just couldn't get them. I couldn't put them all together. But that's where a lot of the tax shelters come from. But anyway, that's what's going on, bro. So where are we at? John 4 and what?
We're still at 12.
Okay, let's keep going.
John 4 and 12. Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us his well, and drank thereof himself and his children and his cattle?
Now she's trying to tie in Jacob as he's part of their family. That's her family. Read on, exactly. Read on.
Yahushua answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
He says, anybody that drinks from this fleshly water is going to thirst again. What I was offering you was the opportunity to no longer thirst spiritually. But most I said, blessed are those that hunger and thirst for righteousness. He says, you're not going to thirst anymore once you get what I got to give you. Read on.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Mm-hmm.
The woman saith unto him, Sir.
Now you got to say it like that, because now the respect continues to flow. Now she respects him. Just 5 minutes ago, she treated him like Bill Bixby. Just some bozo out. Bill Bixby. That was the actor in the Hulk, the first Hulk guy, the regular guy, David Banner. That was Bill Bixby. I just some regular schmuck guy on the street. Anyway, but let's keep going.
No one knows.
I know. I just said it. It's just a regular random dude. You treat me like a damn random. Now you respect me like I'm somebody. Read on.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yahweh saith unto her, Go, call thy husband, and come hither.
Yeah, because now he's going to cut us. And you go call your husband and have him come down here. Because now you're trying to sit back here and gas me up. Give me this water. No, call your husband and bring him down. Tell him to come down. Read on.
Now I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you.
And that was setting up. Exactly. Read on.
Verse 17. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Yahweh said unto her, Thou hast well said, I have no husband.
She's a modern woman.
He says, exactly. He says, you're right about saying you ain't got a husband. Read on.
For thou hast had 5 husbands.
You've had 5 of them boys, man. And that's still a low number. That's high back in them days.
She said body count doesn't matter.
Listen, that's low for now, but that's bad back in those days. That's horrible. But keep going. She said you got 5. You done ran through.
You know you got.
Or ran through you.
You know nowadays when they say 2, you gotta multiply by.
Yeah,
like 5.
it's a multiplier.
You multiply by 5. 2 means 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
2, 10, 30, 40, 50.
That's scary, but that's true. But listen, but Christ is like, you have 5. You're right about saying you don't have none. You don't have none now, but you have 5. Read on.
For thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband.
Wow.
In that saidest thou truly.
He said, so you're right. but he's also pointing out where her wickedness is.
Right.
Read on.
Verse 19. The woman saith unto him, Sir.
Now it's still we're respectful now, because he sit back here and pull her whole card out. Read on.
I perceive that thou art a prophet.
You are a prophet, because how are you able to read me like that?
Right.
Read on.
Our fathers.
There we go again. Now we're going to talk about our fathers, the prophets, our fathers of Yasharallah. Get out of here, bro. Read on.
Us, it's we.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain.
Right.
And ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
So once again, now she's siding with him because he's stimulating her spiritually. He's offering her the possibility to get spiritual water. So now I got to play the game to kiss up to this guy because I can get something from him.
Yep.
Read on.
Verse 21. Yahweh said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father.
He says the hour come. You're not gonna listen. You act like you're worshiping the Father. There's comes time when you're not worshiping the Father at all. That's what he's saying. You really ain't about the Most High like you say you're about the Most High. Stop talking. Stop fronting like you're spiritual. Talking about our holy. He's like, damn. That's exactly what it is. That's what it should have been placed in as he's saying. You ain't about serving the Most High and reading the scriptures. Damn. That's how it should be, because that's what he's saying. Read on.
Verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
You don't know what you worship because you were never properly taught how to serve the Most High in Christ anyway. You never were taught these scriptures. Read on.
We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
We know what we worship. We know why we worship. We know why we make these commitments. We know why we follow the Sabbath. We know why we dress the way we dress. We're the Jews. We know we're the Jews. We can see our history from the beginning to the end. That's why, and we know the salvation is coming to the people that have their history intact. Not you. Because you don't read, you're not about this book, and you were transplants. No different than Esau was when they began to be converts in the 8th century AD, when they chose to be Jewish instead of taking on the Christian religion or the Arab religion. The Amalekite white people chose neutrality and chose Judaism. It's the same concept. They chose a religion versus an ancestral lineage. We have rights and connections to our spiritual ancestral lineage, which gives us the opportunity for salvation. Continue.
Verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father.
He's telling her, listen, you're not a true worshiper.
You're not true.
There's an hour that's coming that the true worshipers are going to sit back here and worship the Most High in Christ in spirit. Read on.
But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him.
He wants true worshipers to follow him, not imposters. This even goes even clearer with the notion that these converts weren't part of the clique.
Yeah.
These converts weren't even classified as being true worshipers.
Yep.
The true worshipers had to have ancestral lineage connected to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he's clarifying that with this conversation to a woman that's faking it like if she's part of the ancestry of the Jews. Does that make sense? This chapter makes so much more sense now when you understand how these Samaritans operated and how they thought and how they did things. It makes so much sense. I hope it makes sense to y'all because it makes more sense to me. Are we done with verse 23? We're going to leave it at that. There's more stuff, but there's no need to go into it. I think the message was dropped. How she was rude and disrespectful initially when she didn't think there was anything to gain from kissing up to him. And then when she realized there was something to gain, then all of a sudden the acting is on.
And this is why the Bible is so important for us to read, because Israel has no real political understanding.
And historical understanding.
We don't have political understanding on how to politic among the nations from a position of power. We do it from a position of really a slavish position. We don't know how to deal with them from a historical position. That these people for thousands of years has enslaved us and destroyed us and not cared about us. If they put a movie out, Israel's done. All you have to do is make a movie. Black exploitation era. We were fighting for rights. We were fighting for growth. We were fighting for freedom, quote unquote. Right? They put some movies where brothers was pimps and we had Bentleys and we had Cadillacs, not Bentleys. We had Cadillacs. We had nice things, and all of a sudden the vision went from revolution and taking care of our children to we gotta be max pimps and boss players.
I respect your ambition, Willie, but you got to have vision.
Exactly. That whole spirit changed, Doc. Judah just went straight left, Doc.
Yeah. But brothers got manicured fingernails.
Yeah.
They got on pimp suits.
Exactly.
Fur coats. Big cars.
We went into all that. We went from marching. We went from sitting here getting arms, getting weapons, protecting our church from getting killed by the Klan, as far as the deacons of defense. We went from brown berets. We went from all these different ingredients, and inspiring our whole nation. Gad was inspired. Issachar was inspired. Ephraim was inspired. Even Moab was turning up. Huh? There's pictures of Moab like panted up. I'm like, what's going on over here? Huh?
I ain't never seen that.
Oh, brother, Moab was joining a lot of those Judite movements out.
There's flip flopping out.
What they were doing this. They were getting down with the brotherhood. Huh? They were like, listen, man, we riding with, because you know the nations always follow, either they follow Edom or they follow Israel.
You know they Moab was on them train tracks too. They built them train tracks too. Right?
Come, they was hot too, and so everybody was turning up against.
They got reparations though.
We did.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody get reparations.
Ammon and Moab got reparations.
They know how to play the game.
Yeah.
They know how to play the game. So what's so funny is we're so into whatever stimulates us at the time period. We're very short-sighted. Yeah. They have a good movie come out, and the hero is a black guy, or the supporting roles and the people upper echelon roles are Latinos. You know, all of a sudden we won. And Amalek or Jewish Caucasian people talk about this. They say, listen, man, you make this movie, you make a movie for these people out, and you just kill movements like that. Now the heroes of the movies are women. So now women are being classified as their own race. Right. And so now the quote unquote black struggle or the Latino struggle, the minority struggle, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter anymore because it's about the struggle of women. It splits the whole concept of us fighting together as a nation for growth and development. Now it's about fighting for this sector for growth and development. And now it's going from there to trans people. I'm not going to go into that whole trans movement. I got you. I'm not going to go there. But we keep separating and losing the focus. Why are we in this position in the first place? Why are we in the ghetto? Why are we in the slums? Why are we on the bottom? Why are we in debt? oh, because our families are broken down and we've been conquered by nations. No, it's about this. It's about abortion rights. Oh, it's about having a token black person or Latino person on a movie film screen. We need this information. We need to understand these chapters to understand how the nations politic with our people. Well, I'm glad you brought this out, Warren.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought it out for that purpose.
So it kind of opens up, socially how the nations operate with us, but just giving an understanding about the animosity with Israel and Samaria, or the Jews and the Samaritans. Does that make sense? So we're gonna continue on. I don't want to go too heavy into a new topic, but we need to now tap back into King Hezekiah now. I purposely didn't focus too much on King Hezekiah because I wanted to get out of the way the entire 9.5 tribes and their ups and downs and their saga. Then we can turn the book on them and then focus on the southern kingdom from here on out. Okay, and I took as much time as I could to clearly explain the 9.5 tribe process. Now we're going to sit back here and get into a lot of depth dealing with King Hezekiah. So what we're going to do first, before we go into King Hezekiah, we have to briefly go back into King Ahaz's time. So the first verse we're going to jump into is 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 24 through 27. 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 24 through 27. And I'm going to type this other one in. 2 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 1 through 36. And I doubt very seriously we'll be able to go into that today. Okay, so we're going to kind of move this around a little bit. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let's go 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 24 through 27. Matter of fact, we're going to start at verse 19 because I think that kind of gets us a better idea of how we were reduced and broken down because of King Ahaz and his exploits and his stupidity and his bad decision making and his deviation from the Most High. Don't forget, remember what King Ahaz, remember we read in Isaiah chapter 7 that the Most High through Isaiah had talked to him and said, listen, allow me to show you a sign to show you that I'm there with you. Okay? King Rezin and King Pekah of Israel, they're not going to harm you, and your generations are going to be sustained down the line. And King Ahaz said, no, I don't want to tempt the Most High. He didn't even allow the Most High to show him that he was real and he was willing to align himself with Ahaz. So Ahaz continuously showed that he had a disdain for serving the Most High and had a disdain for locking into the Most High. So with that being the case, let's jump to verse 19.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 19. For the Most High brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against the Most High.
Ahaz brought Israel way rock bottom. Listen, he was sitting back here and promoting idolatry, high places. Ahaz was one of the worst of Israelites' kings, and what made him so bad, a lot of the kings, you read about the kings, they were on point, and then their flaw was exposed, then they fell. Some guys started strong, they got weak, they fell. Sometimes they repented, sometimes they didn't. Ahaz from Jump Street was wicked. Ahaz was not about piety, service of the Most High. He was about idolatry from the beginning. And because of that, how he kept doubling down on his wickedness, despite the Most High stinging him and stinging the nation, bringing him down, reducing the nation, he kept sinning. So read verse 19 again.
2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 19. For the Most High brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel, for he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against the Most High. And Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came unto him, and distressed him, but strengthened him not.
So, Tiglath was the king of Assyria. They ended up wiping out the Israelites east of the Jordan. Tiglath took out Reuben, Gad, and the east of Manasseh, or the half tribe of Manasseh, and took them over to the Assyrians. He was the one that initiated the captivities that were about to happen to the 9.5 tribes in its entirety. So he distressed them, then he came back and was distressing Judah also. So he was going at them, and if I'm not mistaken, what Ahaz had to do was give up significant amounts of gold. He stripped all the gold from the temple to give to Tiglath-Pileser to get him to back off of it. So what happened is Ahaz had to become a vassal to the Assyrian Empire. And that was why I want to explain this also. We were brought down low. We were vassals. We were second-class citizens. And whenever there was gold and riches and wealth, it had to be taken and sent to the furthering of the Assyrian Empire. That was how bad it was during the time of Ahaz. I'll continue.
Verse 21. For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of the Most High, and out of the house of the king and of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria.
So once again, he gave this gold to Tiglath-Pileser, obviously to announce that he was going to be a vassal, but also because he was like, listen, Pekah, which was the king of the northern kingdom, and Rezin were conspiring to take out Ahaz. So he's like, if I go to Tiglath-Pileser, which is stronger than both of them, he'll defeat the 9.5 tribes and Syria for me. Tiglath-Pileser took the money and didn't help him. He took the gold and destroyed Rezin, the king of Syria. He was going to take out the king of Syria anyway. But he didn't sit back and provide protection it was a one-sided deal. Normally when you're a vassal, I give you all my gold in exchange for protection. Tiglath-Pileser took the gold and didn't give him protection. That's why he was naked.
He should have knighted him.
He was exposed. Yeah. Exactly. He took all the gold and bounced and took out enemies he was gonna use to take out anyway. They were already at war with Syria. But Israel was still exposed to all other neighboring nations that could have took them out. So Israel was brought completely down low, and all their resources and gold were stripped. Their resources were wiped out. Read on.
For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of the Lord, and out of the house of the king, and of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria. But he helped him not. And in the time of his distress did he trespass yet more against the Most High. This is that King Ahaz.
So he says, in the time of him being brought low, he kept doubling down with sin. He kept doubling down with more negative. He didn't sit back here and look at the decline, the gradual decline of the nation, and say, man, I have to repent. I have to make adjustments. He just kept sinning more and more and more and more. This is what made Ahaz so wicked. Read on.
Verse 23. For he sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus, which smote him. And he said, because the gods of the kings of Syria helped them, therefore will I sacrifice to them, that they may help me.
But what was crazy was, he made that determination after the Assyrians took out the Syrians. The Assyrians took out the Syrian Empire. Ahaz went to meet King Tiglath-Pileser, and all he got from it was a Happy Meal. Yep. He just got the instructions to make the altar of the gods of the Syrians, and he took that altar floor plans, sent it to the priest to make a duplicate copy of the altar, and make that the altar in the temple in Israel.
He took the template
and said, if that's what worked for Syria, then I want that template in Israel.
But it didn't work for Syria, though.
It didn't. Right. That was the point I was saying. It only worked for Syria when they were invading Judah. That was why I said that this was the time when Judites were sent up to Assyria as well. Rezin came down, took out some outward Israelite cities, Judite cities, Benjamite cities, and sent the residue of the people to Syria. And then Assyria took out Syria. So the people that was captive in Syria ended up being captive to Assyria and sent out to Assyria. Also in the reading, we read about Pekah taking out 200,000 Israelites and walking them back up to the northern kingdom as slaves. And then the northern kingdom said, man, if we do this, we're going to get double slammed. Send these people back. Let them go home. Remember that story? I'm trying to just keep everybody refreshed about what we've been reading over the last 3 weeks. Continue.
Verse 23. For he sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus, which smote him. And he said, because the gods of the kings of Syria helped them, therefore will I sacrifice to them, that they may help me. But they were the ruin of him and of all Israel. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of the Most High, and cut in pieces the vessels of the house of the Most High.
They cut all the vessels of gold, anything of value in the house of the Most High. Read on.
And shut up the doors of the house of the Most High.
This nigga closed the doors and threw away the key. Like nobody's worshiping the Most High at all. That was how bitter he was. Other kings allowed the house of the Most High to be open and allowed people to serve their other gods and idols. Other gods allowed high places to go on, along with the house of the Most High being open.
They were all inclusive.
They allowed you to choose your God. This nigga said the Most High ain't being taught up in Jerusalem. He went another step further. This guy said, we're going to shut the doors of the house of the Lord. There will be no priestly activity going on. No animals are going to get sacrificed. You can't sacrifice animals in the temple. None of that's allowed anymore. It's banned. Teaching the Most High, talking about the Most High, performing the ceremonies of the Most High is banned.
That's a hard, proactive attempt.
Because he was angry at the Most High. And he kept doubling down against the Heavenly Father. So I want to paint the background of how bad it was to be an Israelite in these days. The Levites had nothing to do. They were jobless. What was the Levites doing?
Yeah, go to work.
They had to do something. They better pick up a trade. Yeah, they had to start picking up trades. They had to do something to survive.
Which is destroying a lot of families, bro.
A lot of families were destroyed. Levites and all the people who didn't have access to the ceremonies. That was how wicked Ahaz was.
Well, we know the scriptures say, he that despises man, despises not man, but the Most High. He really had a hate for the Most High. He just took it out on the people around him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he wanted everybody else to share that same level of disgust to the Most High.
And that was why Ahaz was a truly wicked man. So, let's continue.
You want that Malachi 3:8?
No, I'm okay right now.
2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 24. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house.
You know what? Yes, let's do that.
Oh.
Let's do that. It's Malachi what?
3, 8, and 9.
Yeah. That actually does work. Malachi 3, 8, and 9.
Malachi chapter 3, verse 8. Will a man rob the Most High? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee?
Mm-hmm. So how can a man rob the Most High? Read on.
In tithes and offerings.
So listen. Now the priest, or now the King Ahaz, created a situation where he was denying the Most High the opportunity for people to even give him tithes and offerings. That's what made Ahaz so wicked. This wasn't the people's fault. He used his kingly power to cut off the people's only opportunity to connect with the Heavenly Father the way they were trained to do. The way they were trained to reconnect or to maintain connection with the Father is through the offerings. It's through the free will offerings. It's through the giving to the priest. They cut that off, so he personally cut off Israel's access to the Most High. That was how bad of a guy Ahaz was. And we're going to read about Hezekiah, how he was like the complete opposite polarity of what his father was. Okay, read on.
Verse 9. Ye are cursed with a curse,
Yep.
for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation.
So what we're going to read is also that the Most High was setting up a curse and calamity on the people because of what Ahaz did. But like a lot of times, a wicked person dies before all the fruits of his wickedness are manifested on the people. So all this wickedness that this guy Ahaz is doing, there was still a greater punishment that was waiting because of what he did. And the calamities that the Jews had to face, or at least were faced with by the Assyrians, hadn't come to fruition yet because of what Ahaz did. Okay, read on.
Okay, Malachi?
No, let Malachi go.
Okay. 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 24. And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of the Most High, and cut in pieces the vessels of the house of the Most High, and shut up the doors of the house of the Most High. And he made him altars in every corner of Jerusalem. And in every several city of Judah, he made high places to burn incense unto other gods.
So this guy sat back in all the outside cities of Judah. Wasn't just in Jerusalem. This guy went bananas at and kept doubling down on pushing this idolatry everywhere he went, bro. All the cities, all the Judite and Benjamite cities, he sat back here and I'm gonna put idol worshiping sinners in churches in all of these cities. This guy was proactive in his hatred towards the Most High. He was proactive. Can you find for me, Samuel, that talks about the father and son, and how come sometimes the sons don't operate like the father? It goes into when Samuel was. I always go into it, but I want to keep going into that concept. It's in it's when Samuel was getting older and he had his sons come in and they weren't the same guy.
Was it in Josephus? Because you brought out.
Yes, it was in the Josephus.
Yeah.
It was in the Josephus. I want to make sure I bring that out as we're going into this.
Yeah, you had brought it out. That there's no guarantee that the sons will come out like the
Got
fathers.
no doubt. Let me see. I think.
Josephus.
Yeah, I got it. It's 6 and 3 and 2. It's 6, 3 and 2, or at least in 6, 3. Let me see.
Yeah, right here. Yes, it's
6, 3 and 2.
6, 3 and 2, but it's not the whole. It's line 34.
Okay.
Uh,
Just keep
no,
it.
33. I got it right.
Keep it in your pocket because
All right,
we're about to go.
I got it.
Yeah.
33.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to. I go to it a lot, so I kind of want to.
Yeah. That's paragraph 2, book 6, chapter 3,
Mhm.
paragraph 2,
Yeah.
line
Okay.
32.
Yeah. So let's read
33.
2 Chronicles again in verse 25.
2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 25.
So he shut off the temple. So he shut off access for the people to stay connected with the Most High. He shut off access to the offerings and all that stuff. Read on.
Verse 25. And in every several city of Judah, he made high places to burn incense unto other gods.
This guy was wicked, bro. He was doubly wicked. Then he had a campaign to push idolatry everywhere in Judah, everywhere in the southern kingdom. That took work and desire. He can give two craps about rebuilding. You know, most great kings, they rebuild walls, they reestablish their military. They sit back here and take out some weaker nations to sit back and build your gold supply up on your finance and your money. This guy didn't do anything like that. He didn't sit back and create better agricultural and financial foundations. All he did is, I'm just going to utterly corrupt this nation.
Destructive, huh?
I don't give a crap. I'm just going to destroy my people. Read on.
And provoke to anger the Most High power of his fathers.
That's crazy, bro. That was how rock bottom Israel was by the time Hezekiah was about to get into power. Read on.
Now the rest of his acts and all of his ways, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Judah and Israel.
Okay. So, read on.
Okay. And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city, even in Jerusalem. But they brought him not into the sepulchres of the kings of Israel.
Because he didn't earn to be in the same sepulcher as David and all these other great men. Read on.
And Hezekiah his son reigned in his stead.
Then now I want to go down to Josephus 6:2, and it was 6:3 and 2, right?
6:3 and 2. And then line 33.
Let's read that.
Josephus book 6, chapter 3, paragraph 2, line 33, page 154.
Let's read it.
Now these men afford us an evident example and demonstration how some children are not of the like dispositions with their parents, but sometimes, perhaps good and moderate, though born of wicked parents.
And this is what's happening. We're about to read about the opposite of how it normally goes. A lot of times you have this righteous man, this pious, dedicated man like Samuel, and his sons are in the robbery and corruptness and wickedness. But sometimes it reverses, and you have a wicked father, and the child is righteous. Now, stories in the scriptures, you don't read it like this. You don't read this dynamic happen as much as the other dynamic. Most of the time you read about righteous men and their children just don't live up to those expectations. In this situation, Ahaz, one of the worst kings of Israel's history.
Yep.
And then Hezekiah was the complete polar opposite of him, and his motivations and his focus helped rebuild and reestablish Israel to be back stabilized and in good graces with the Heavenly Father. When you sit back and read in Ecclesiasticus, I have the verse.
The basis of their parents.
No. If you want to pull that, cool. I was just going to go into let me see. I got to find it real quick.
I'll read that.
Yeah.
That one. Ecclesiastes chapter 22, verse 9.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 22, verse 9.
Everybody get it?
If children live honestly,
It said if they do what?
if children live honestly,
He said if children live honestly, meaning they're sincere and they're honest about their issues, and if they're honest about their mistakes and their flaws, read on.
and have wherewithal,
Meaning, and they have an understanding of their issues. They get an understanding of their issues, read on.
they shall cover the baseness of their parents.
It says they shall cover the what?
The baseness of their parents.
The word baseness, get that definition of base. Because it's going to show you how, even though you may not have had the best parents in the world,
Yep.
that doesn't mean that you have to follow right after their footsteps and go right into their mistakes. So it shows you that you can make a choice and you can make a difference, but it's based upon how much understanding you gain in order for you to see, I'm not going to follow after my parents' footsteps. You got
the definition for base in the 1828. The first one, it says low in place.
Low in place. Go ahead.
Obsolete.
Go ahead.
The second definition, mean, vile, worthless.
So there's some worthless parts of your parents that the children don't have to adopt. And they don't have, just because you've seen it, you had bad examples, you saw the negligence from your parents, you saw the mistakes that your parents made, you're able to point them out. Read on.
It goes on to say low in value or estimation.
Right. You see them make bad decisions financially, bad decisions relationship-wise, bad decisions morally. You've seen some corrupt things directly from your parents. That doesn't mean that the children are bound to follow after those footsteps, or duplicate the same low in value, bad decision making. What else?
Used of things.
All right, that's it. That's good for now. Finish that in 22. One more time.
Come. If children live honestly and have wherewithal, they should cover the baseness of the parents.
It says, yeah, a child can walk a different path from what he's seen his parents walk on. You're not just, you might have seen them make mistakes. You can either follow it or you can learn from it. You could say this is how we get down as a family, because we're family and this is what we're about. Whether it's the gang life, the dope dealing life, or the dope abusing life, whatever life it is you see your parents do, it doesn't have to be family business. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going opposite of that. I don't want nothing to do with that lifestyle. I'm going to go completely opposite and live a upstanding life. He says that's a choice of the who? Of the child.
Yes.
That's a choice of the child. So just because the child may have had a bad upbringing, that doesn't guarantee the children are going to follow the same low state of life.
It's that child's choice.
It's that child's choice.
Exactly. And this is what Hezekiah, you're going to read, Hezekiah made that choice to be a righteous man and live a way more honorable life than what he saw his father. And he saw his father take the nation down to new lows. Okay, we're going to read real quick in Ecclesiasticus chapter 49, verse 1 through 4.
Ecclesiasticus 49, verse 1. The remembrance of Josiah.
Matter of fact, we're going to go to verse 5. Read that.
The remembrance of Josiah is like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary.
So he's saying, when you remember Josiah, now Josiah was a king that came down the pipeline like 2 or 3 more generations after Hezekiah, like probably 3 or 4 generations. And he says how Josiah was put together. Well, I'm gonna say it's probably 3 generations. Point is, because Manasseh comes after Hezekiah, and Manasseh was wicked, then he changed up. But there was like 2 or 3 guys after Hezekiah. And they said Josiah, how he was put together, is like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary. Meaning, how the Most High put him together was he was well put together spiritually,
well proportioned.
Yes.
Because a good perfume,
Balanced.
and we know this all too well. All fragrances don't mix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All ingredients don't go together.
Yeah.
You could make a bad aroma.
Rancid, it'd be rancid.
Yeah, be pungent.
Because the funny thing, you don't even know how good a fragrance is until you start hitting that second and third note after it's on your skin for like 2 or 3 hours. You might take a quick spray, it's pretty good. Then you're like an hour and a half later, the smell feels like it's on top of your skin versus blending in. Right. You're like, woo, that didn't hit right. That second phase didn't come through right with the smell.
Yeah. It starts smelling like bug spray, and after
off.
Off and raid.
Tangerine flavor.
It gets sour after a while.
Yes.
But a good composition, we know this all too well. For also brothers Houston, Virginia, New York, they know this too. A good fragrance will dissipate in layers, and every layer there's something sweet or something unique about that next layer that comes after that.
Yep.
So you got high notes, middle notes, and low notes. You'll smell you enjoy the high note, which is the citrus or aquatic note in the beginning. After a couple of hours, you smell the orchids, you smell the lilies, the middle notes, and then all the sweet notes, and then at the end of the day, you smell the spices or the earth tones or the woods or the peppers. You smell that at the end of the day.
You know this guy can sell right here. You know this guy is like, I'll take one. I'll buy it. I will buy it.
That is recorded.
I will buy it. Give me 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 of the big bottles sold.
And
I might as well.
Rusty. We rusty as hell.
I know.
But you talk about when you study.
I'm like, what you got for me, man? What you got for me today, man? Make a mix for me, man.
Yeah, I got something that's gonna catch all 3 arrows of the day, man. The morning, the afternoon, and the evening.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna be the number 1 guy in the office. Huh?
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? People gonna know when you come to work. They wait for you to come to work.
Yes.
They gonna want their morning hug.
Yep.
I tell them, man, they gonna want a morning hug like they want donuts.
Yep.
Oh, man.
No, that's true though. But he's showing how a man could have that same level of virtues within himself. That's what he's saying about Josiah. Josiah was like that well-composed fragrance that you enjoyed morning, noon, and night.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? All day. You know what I'm saying? He was
pleasant.
He was pleasant, right?
Yes. So let's keep going in 49.
Ecclesiasticus 49:1. The remembrance of Josiah is like the composition of the perfume that is made by the art of the apothecary. It is sweet as honey in all mouths, and as music at a banquet of wine.
So he was pleasing to all people he confronted at.
Yeah.
All people, demographics, understanding levels, he was able to connect with. That was, he wasn't just cool with the elites. He was going to deal with the regular guy, your average Joe, your elites, everybody he was able to connect with. That's what made him, that was part of what made him special, on top of his piety. Read on.
And it shows also that he had a heavy amount of temperance, bro.
Yes.
He didn't have this attitude, or he didn't have
Being
this,
the king,
like rub somebody the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking out of bounds, or,
Yeah.
I change throughout the day. I'm cool.
Flip-flop
Like,
now.
yeah, flip-flop. I'm cool for the first half of the day, and then something pissed me off. Now I'm agitated
Different
easily.
guy.
Now I'm pissed. Now I'm all angry and shit. I'm taking it out on everybody around me. I'm abrasive now.
Yep.
It said he was well tempered, man. You know what I'm saying? There was a balance to it.
Beautiful, man.
Con. Let's keep going.
Verse 2. He behaved himself uprightly in the conversion of the people, and took away the abominations of iniquity. He directed his heart unto the Most High, and in the time of the ungodly, he established the worship of the Most High.
Now, we're reading about Josiah, but the reason I even brought this verse out is for verse 4. Okay? And we'll go back into this chapter when we read about Josiah, which is in a few weeks. But read this, verse 4.
Verse 4. All except David.
All is referring to all kings. All kings except for David. Read on.
And Ezekias.
Ezekias is Hezekiah.
Right.
Okay? This is like the Greek Ezekiah is Hebrew Hezekiah.
Yeah.
Read on.
And Josias. All except David and Ezekias and Josias were defective.
He said, so there was, in the history of the Israelite kings, north and south, the only three kings that was worth a damn was David, Hezekiah, and Josiah.
And he didn't even say Solomon.
I know.
And Solomon is wrote heavily in the scriptures.
But he was still defective, though. He said these three men had greater character and had greater piety and devotion to the Most High than any of the kings of all time. So you're about to read one of the greatest to ever do it for our people. Okay, that was why I'm kind of wanting to paint the picture this way, and reading the stark contrast between Ahaz and how much of a dirtbag, how this guy was pushing idolatry in every city. We're gonna sit back here and put a demon temple in every city. And y'all gonna love it. And that's gonna be the only place you're gonna go, because we're gonna starve out the spirit.
And wasting
in this
resources
country.
to do it, wasting manpower, energy, and spirit. You're losing. If you're gonna be a king and you're gonna be wicked, you might be like, I'm not gonna invest in this.
He's starving out the spirit out. He's starving out the Most High.
He's quenching the spirit.
And I am forcibly gonna push Israel to the left, because I'm that angry with the Most High. It's bad. But now we're gonna read that stark contrast that was in Hezekiah. Now we only have so much time left, so I'm not going to go heavy into this into these verses, but I'm gonna go a little bit in. You know what I might do? Huh?
This class will be dope.
What?
If this topic's concluding, then it'd be good to go next class.
You want to do next week on this, man? Because it's a whole other.
Because we're gonna blend the topics.
Huh? I got everybody hyped up. I was like, we gonna talk. Let me tell you about Hezekiah. He wanted to let go of his head and do it. Yeah. I'm gonna get y'all hyped. Y'all ready? You ready? We're gonna cut down class.
Next week,
everybody
Next week, when Dragon Ball Z Cell comes back.
Small introduction.
I'm like, okay.
Sneak peek.
Huh?
Sneak peek.
I think we're gonna leave it out. You know why? Because it's an entirely new topic. It's an entirely new topic.
Hey, that's how you do all my children. That's how they stay in business. Days of our lives. Like, they get you to that point of, oh man, I got to see what Jorge did. And boom. That's it.
My whole thing is, I don't want to start a whole new topic and stop in 20 minutes. Because it's already 1:30. You know what I mean? We're to sit back and flow into it properly and go into the whole zone, man. versus forcing it and trying to make all this,
cutting it in half. Yes.
Yes, sir.
chopping and screwing it, man. You know what I mean?
Discretion.
So that's what we can do for the next 15, 20. Y'all got any questions? Now it's time for Q&A. Anybody got any questions?
You already know my question is.
What?
Global politics, man.
Well, if you want to talk about some geopolitics, man, well, listen. I will. You were moving your fingers like this, Kareem. You was like this.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know what that means, man. Does that mean you have a question?
Yeah, well, so.
His fingers like this. He's like, I was like, he didn't move his hand up. He just did this. What does that mean? What's going on here?
Does that mean like it could be one, it could be many?
One, and two, and three. Let me stop this.
Alright, so last night, when we were talking about how the Ephesians.
No, we're doing that tomorrow, B. We're doing that on Monday, B.
But when I came in, you did mention.
You should have came here on time,
the
buddy.
Samaritans.
You watch the class?
No. Let him re-ask it. Let him ask it.
That the Samaritans weren't as like the Jews, because she was trying to say, well, our father. Is it because the Samaritans were like Israelites at one point, or not at all whatsoever? How does that?
I'm gonna briefly go into it, but we went into it in class today.
Yeah, okay.
Samaria was the capital city of the Northern Empire. That's first and foremost. And Samaria, if I'm not mistaken, was in the city or the country of Ephraim. So at one time, Samaria was the capital city of our people. But we started off class today explaining that after the Diaspora happened and the Assyrian Empire took the majority of our people out of Samaria and the different cities that were around Samaria. Now Samaria and all the other countryside was unoccupied. So now the Samaritans are no longer there. Now you got all these people from these different nations and different city outposts, whether it was in Hamath, which was in Syria, Ava, which was in Syria, Sepharvaim, which was in Syria, Cutha and Babylon, which was in the cities or the area of Babylon. Now we know now that Cutha were Persians, or a group of Persian peoples. They got transplanted to the land of Samaria, or to be specific, the northern kingdom. That included Galilee and all those other countries and cities going northward in Israel. Okay, so they were transported and transplanted into the cities, and what ended up happening, they were in those cities, and they were following their idols there.
Yeah.
But the Most High was destroying them and sending lions to them, because the area they had no respect at all for the Heavenly Father. So the Assyrian government sent priests that were taught in the way of the northern kingdom's way of serving the Most High, which was backwards and not how the Levites did it. Sent them down, brought them down to teach the newly formed, the newly named Samaritans now. Okay?
Yeah.
Now these Samaritans are there, and they were still following their own gods and ideologies, and then they were taught by the priest, which was once an Israelite, a northern kingdom person, how to follow the laws of the Most High, or how to follow a semblance of how the Most High wanted them to operate.
Gotcha.
Then the fighting and the lion attack stopped. But then when we read in 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 24 down, it explained that they just kept doing their thing, and they added on following the Most High, and it didn't change.
Still set up their high places.
They set up their high places in locations that were already pre-set up for high places because the Northern Kingdom did it.
But they just brought their own gods.
Exactly, and we kind of broke down in detail the different type of gods that were in each of those little high places that brought their influence to the land.
And these are not new gods, these are old gods.
Yes.
But also read Leviticus chapter 18 verse 22 real quick.
Leviticus chapter 18 verse 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind.
Because we said thou, and we know what that means, right? He said, "Thou shalt not lay down and sleep with mankind as thou sleepest with womankind." Right? Go ahead.
It is abomination.
It's a what?
It is abomination.
Read verse 24.
Verse 24. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled.
Who does these things?
The nations are defiled.
Who believes in these things?
The nations are defiled.
So the nations believe in laying down with another man like you lay with a woman. The nations believe that. Jump down to verse 28.
Verse 28. That the land spew not you out also.
It said, because if you do these things, what will come against you?
The land.
So what was them animals? Why did the Most High have them animals start killing all them people in 2 Kings 17?
Because listen, I want to make sure listen. They still follow other gods.
Yeah.
That still happened after. So what was happening to where Moses said, enough is enough. This ain't happening no more. Huh?
Yep. Yeah. So it's showing you that these what the nations believe in. That's what they're doing. So that's why them lions had to come out, because
they give us bati fish.
Yeah.
Bati fish.
Yeah.
They had to go, man. Those guys had to go, man.
They had to go because you know who it is. Read on.
That the land spew not you out also, when ye defile it.
So the land will start to come against you. That includes the creatures. That includes the weather. That includes the fact that the hailstorms.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the there's no rain. You know what I'm saying? There's dry spell. That's fires. That's that's different kind of spirits. That's invasive species. The land itself. When you start polluting the land itself will start rejecting you. He said, "Will not do what?
When ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations."
As it did what?
As it spewed out the nations.
Go ahead.
That were before you.
So this is why when the other nations came in and they were starting to get ate up by these lions, that was a sign that that the land itself was coming against them. You know what I'm saying? The land is now your enemy. And so now they had to go seek out the priests and say, well, let's go get these other priests and bring them in. And we were showing how those priests weren't legitimate priests either.
Yep.
They weren't legitimate priests that actually come from Levi.
Yep.
You know, to come in and show us how to worship the God of that land. You know what I'm saying? That's when they brought in the priests to try to,
the basest men.
Yeah, they choose priests of the basest men of the lowest level because they weren't truly priests. But they gave them a fake, watered down version of spirituality and how to serve the Most High. And so that's what we went into, why you had this, by the time you get to St. John, you had this conversation with the woman at the well about talking about our fathers worshipped in these mountains. And Christ had to set her straight, if that's what you came in at on the class. That's why he had to set her straight, because these people was already getting rejected back in the time of 2 Kings 17, because they was bringing in a different type of form of worship, which we know that laying down with mankind is one of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to lay down with a man like I lay down with a woman. That's one of the things that the nations do. You know what I'm saying?
So that makes sense?
Yes, sir. It does.
But go back into the class and listen to it again so you can get it from beginning to end, because it goes through all of it step by step.
Will do, yeah.
Any other question? Because we're going to go back into more Galatians on Monday. That party just got started.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Naga, so we want to know what's going on with Ukraine, Slava Ukraine. Slava Ukraine. What's that?
No, I was just trying to figure out where we at now.
Bro, sure. I'm gonna say this: where we're at is that Ukraine is up. You know what's Creek out? They're in trouble, bro. There were a series of explosions that Russian rockets were sitting back here, and they exploded like a large weapons depot. I found out that the weapons depot was underground too, and they still hit this underground depot that had like $2.2 billion worth of weaponry. All you've been hearing about lately is Ukraine's going to all these countries asking for weapons.
Yeah.
For this major spring-summer offensive. And they keep hyping up this spring-summer offensive because the next few weeks, if it hasn't happened already, the ground is dry. So now the ground is dry, so they can sit back here and move their tanks and their weaponry without it being stuck. They say like when the weather is bad in Ukraine and the ground is soft, it's like 10 feet of mud, and you can't move around. You can only move around on these certain roads, and the ground is so rich in good soil that you're just gonna sink. Your tanks are gonna sink in the mud. So they have to wait. Even Russia has to wait until the ground hardens. Then they can sit back and send infantry forces and tanks and so forth and so on. But they sat back here. The Russians blew up approximately $2.2 million worth of weaponry, including depleted uranium that came from Britain. Now the Brits were going to send this depleted uranium to send to the Russian people. And the crazy thing is, if you guys don't know that, depleted uranium destroys crops, destroys land. It creates birth defects in children. It gives the adults cancer. It's dirty warfare. It's dirty pool.
Biological warfare.
It's biological warfare. They did it to the Iraqi people, and all their children would have 3 arms and 2 heads and all these birth deformities based on the depleted uranium they were using to take out the Iraqi people. And it contaminates the land for 15 years. So what happened is almost like the Most High is backfiring all this on these people.
You also got Biden talking about giving Ukraine F-16s now. So they're turning this thing up another level.
But they're desperate. The problem is, listen, they've been debating it, but they got to ask them. We'll go on to F-16s in a second. But that's insane if they do it, because they still don't have enough trained men to fly it.
You gotta train people.
I didn't know it was a serious consideration.
That's the only, why it's consideration? Because that's the only weaponry they got left.
Right.
We're going to that. But right now, there was a major explosion, and I said that $2.2 million worth of supplies are gone. The problem is that contamination from those dirty bombs now is hitting Ukrainian land. And the contamination and radiation is at high levels in that Ukrainian spot that got blown up. And the wind and the debris from that depleted uranium is flowing towards Poland now.
Oh,
It's over, bro.
Listen, so what's crazy is all that shit is backfiring on NATO. They should have never brought depleted uranium in the first place. But $2.2 million worth of supplies and weaponry, that's what you need for your offensive. There's been 3 or 4 of those explosions scattered throughout all of Ukraine. Russia has figured out where their ammunition stashes are. And it's blowing them up. Boom, 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 boom. And the reason they're able to blow them up is because Ukraine's anti-air defense systems are weakened and degraded very badly. In the winter, when they were bombing Ukraine, they were bombing Ukrainian power plants, energy sources, and they were attacking. They were trying to attack all of their their anti-aircraft and anti-missile defenses. So how they do it is they send drones out, because now America's been sending out their Patriot missiles, which is air defense systems. They flood the air with drones, and the Patriot missiles start locking in their coordinates on the drones. And then right behind the drones, now Russia's sending hypersonic missiles behind it. And they can't adjust. They can't adjust to these hypersonic missiles. The hypersonic missiles are blowing up and destroying the bombs and the batteries. So now the Patriot missile batteries, which is the actual machine that houses the bullets, are being blown up. And America's being real quiet about it, because it's their top technology in air defense is getting just destroyed and blown up, and they're getting embarrassed.
It's embarrassing.
They're getting embarrassed online, and they're showing videos. They're showing like old video game like clips on Twitter about like U.S. Patriot missiles versus the Russian hypersonic missiles, and they're going to war, and the fucking hypersonic missiles are going in and it's like Russia 1, America 0, and it's really embarrassing. It's like 3-0, and America's falling apart. on Twitter, there's a bunch of stuff like that. Point is
Well,
that
Nintendo
they made it like it's like
16-bit.
yes, it was in 16-bit form.
That's funny.
And it was just showing like the page masters are missing and they're missing the bombs and they're missing the bombs and blowing up Kiev in the midst of it. And they're clowning him because that's what's actually happening and nobody's talking about it. Now Zelensky is saying the spring offensive is put on hold for now. Now they're going to put on hold because they don't have no weapons to use to fight them.
Yeah.
Now very soon
He's
Russia's
just
going
popping anyway, bro.
And also
Listen.
they got tanks from all different countries.
German Leopards.
French.
the Challenger tanks from
They
Britain.
they don't even speak the language to operate these machines.
And that's the point. They're sitting back here. They had to go and get taught how to operate the Leopards. Then they got to operate the Challengers.
You got to read it in German,
They
French,
can't read it.
English.
They can't read
I
it.
know. And they interviewed tankers. It takes years to learn how to operate this machinery at an expert level. And it's the tanks. There are like 3 or 4 guys in the tanks that have to master their jobs.
Synchronization.
Yes, and you can't do that on the fly.
U-571.
So what's happening? I remember that movie. That was a good movie.
That's what it reminds me of.
So what's happening now is Russia is going to sit back and do their offensive. What they're not talking about is Russia's going to probably take Kherson and Odessa, which is going to landlock Ukraine.
They said Russia is putting up 200,000 troops to lock the borders down.
Yes, because they're preparing for an offensive. But when there's no offensive, what's going to happen? They're going to go on the offense. And the only thing left to take is Odessa and Kherson. If you take Kherson and then Odessa, that landlocks Ukraine, and now Ukraine has no access to ports. They're broke. So now Russia would have all the good land in the east, and they're gonna take all the land that connects to Transnistria, which is theirs too. And then they're gonna see what Russia. Then there's rumors about Zelensky being told he needs to start negotiating some peace scenarios. I don't think he's gonna do it because he wants to double down and keep this war going.
Keep getting fed.
But they're
$billions
falling apart.
Yeah.
Listen, they're blowing billions of dollars. A lot of the weaponry is destroyed. And Bakhmut, that place everybody's fighting about, there's only like 2 buildings left.
And this is going to intensify the nations that jump into BRICS.
I know.
Because this little football game is proving what side should you join militarily.
And what's happening with that is there's a big BRICS meeting happening in a few weeks, and they're all going to sit back and find ways to back their monies up by gold. They might not sit back and do one global currency. What they're going to do is have all their currencies backed by gold to de-dollarize the United States dollar. So when the American dollar is soon going to tank and plummet. The United States government right now is sitting back here meeting and deliberating on how they're going to deal with their debt.
Yeah. That's the debt ceiling.
Their debt ceiling is high, bro. They can't pay their bills. Something's got to give.
China just called in all the debts from Africa, from India, from all these different countries. China want their money now. They want all their money back. So if you ain't got the money, you got to give up the resources.
Yeah.
You got to give up the land, the grain, the crops, the gold, whatever it is you got as a resource.
And what's happening also is now that the Americans see they can't really take out Russia, they're focusing their energy on China. They're literally talking online about war games, about simulated approaches that they're going to do if China takes over Taiwan. They're planning and they're putting it in the media. And they're going to have to they're going to probably have to respond militarily to China. These people are doubling down with these war approaches, bro.
Because it's over.
And, but they know it's over. They know their dollar is falling. They know the countries are not. Their power was backed on a petrodollar, which was their dollar, and and oil by the Saudis kept their dollar strong. Now, when all the world, if the entire world and the majority of it backs their money with gold, America's finished, and they're gonna have no choice but to keep accelerating war and fighting in other countries. Even to this day, I was reading about this guy in Taiwan. They're sitting back here, and there's a Democratic government now that won the election in Taiwan. And all these countries that are doing these elections, they're trying to set up different countries to go against China. So now they got a Democratic government, quote unquote Democratic government in Thailand. They're going to use that government to sit back
That's
and
World
make
War.
business affronts against China. Whenever you hear about the Democratic government, they're funding these leaders to go against pretty much the structure that's keeping these countries stable and trying to get allies, like in Pakistan, to go against the people. Anyway, the point is that this thing is getting bad. Russia's winning. Russia's going to probably go on the offense soon. Ukraine is running out of weapons. And the weapons that they did get for this next offensive, a lot of it's gone.
And they're old weapons too.
They're old weapons.
Yeah.
They're either old weapons or they're new weapons that their guys aren't properly trained on.
So once the de-dollarization happens, then no matter what money anyone has, it means nothing.
The dollar's not going to be worth very much. It's going to be inflation. What it means is the dollar is going to mean something, but if a loaf of bread is $30, then how valuable is your dollar? When a loaf of bread is $50, because that's what inflation is.
One loaf of bread is already $3.50
What?
at Walmart.
I'm talking about hyperinflation.
Yeah, I'm talking about this. This is just the beginning.
I know. And when you get hyperinflation, bread's $10. Even if bread gets to 10, you know how damaging that process is, and how that throws everybody under a loop. And then if that's how much is gas going to be? How you gonna get around?
Yeah, you're gonna be riding motorcycles, and
You're gonna be on bikes.
You're gonna be on bikes, and you're gonna be rolling your own bread at home.
Yep.
The old school.
And rice gonna be expensive too. Bicycle, all those things are going up. Right?
Rice, flour, corn.
The essentials.
Yeah.
Listen, that's all you're gonna have. That's all you're gonna have money for.
Okay.
And listen, in a nation that's built on luxury and comfort, these people are gonna be going crazy. They're gonna be going crazy.
Yeah.
So, like I said, nobody knows when. It's a matter of time now. They keep losing in all these fronts, and all these different fronts. They're losing in Ukraine. Listen, they're going to have to make a real move to sit back and go against China, because that ain't going to end well either. Now they're going to be spreading all these different fronts, and don't forget, there's still a Russian Navy. I mean, there's a Russian military base in Nicaragua. There's Chinese military bases in Mexico.
Yeah.
They don't talk about it.
And all our military weaponry is built by the Chinese. So the back technology is Chinese. So you're like, what are you doing?
Well, what the scary thing is, the scary thing that China has control over is the control of the pharmaceutical market. This is a pharmaceutical-driven country. Medications.
Big fun.
Listen, they have control of. They make all the pills.
Yeah.
So if you want, America's slowly but surely doing embargoes on China. All China gotta say is, we are not giving you any more medicine. And there's not enough time to recover and all of a sudden create an industrial complex in the States. That takes too much
now
time.
we're trying by putting those chip factories we were breaking down earlier.
They're trying to do it. They're trying to do a Taiwan chip factory, but it's not going to operate because you don't have Taiwan workers doing it. Taiwan workers are working damn crazy ass hours every day, bro, to keep the output a certain way. The point is, America's stretched out. They've outsourced all of their work to their enemies, and they want to keep flexing on their enemies who they need.
This is the second decline of Rome.
This is the second decline of Rome. So it's just we better sit back here and tighten up and cleave to the Most High, because every day you keep seeing America's hegemony, which is their solo power, breaking up. Meaning every day they're no longer the only show running.
Not dominant.
Not anymore. They don't have this.
It will be
They're not a nobody nation.
Yeah.
But they're showing that, hey, we don't have the power to flex and bully and influence the global economy, influence the world, because listen, the big boys aren't afraid of America anymore.
Right.
And now the smaller countries are gaining confidence to rely on these other big countries. They're not any longer the greatest show on earth. And that's no different than when the Visigoths and the Germanic tribes started beating the Roman Empire.
Yep.
It got to a point
Barbarians.
where, you're reading Gladiator, they barely won. And remember that first fight against Germanic tribes?
Yeah.
They barely won that fight. It was showing that it wasn't as easy to get on top of these Germanic tribes like they used to. And very soon, they were going to start losing those spice to Germanic tribes. So this is what's happening now. When they was able to sit back here and beat up on Iraq and Afghanistan, and you can sit back here and do these operations, shock and awe, we're just going to be bombing Baghdad and killing 500,000 people and children. You can't just flex on Russia like that.
With ease.
Because they didn't have anti-aircraft missiles. They didn't have that technology. What Russia's showing is a lot of their technology has surpassed the United States. They haven't even brought out their high-end stuff yet.
They got more tanks than anybody else in the world.
Brother, and I saw yesterday they got some of these tanks on the rail lines. They're starting to bring them in.
And we know that Edom was blessed with the sword, but the Russians are Edom too. So you can dominate other nations because the Most High did not bless those other nations with the same prophetic gifts. You understand? This all goes back to the Bible.
That's why the Russian AK has been one of the most successful weapons in the history of weaponry. You know what I'm saying? The Russian AK. Then you got the howitzer, the German howitzer, which was around during the time of Alamo. You know what I'm saying? German-made weapons. The Derringer, Mossberg, all the Esau was blessed with the weaponry, with the sword.
Yeah. And now what the United States had built the majority of their military industrial complex on is finesse weapons. That's what America, Boeing and not Boeing, but what's that company? Boeing's were planes. Lockheed's planes. It was
Airbus?
No, there's another company that America is American made, and they make all these Patriot missiles and all these fancy, expensive, high-end equipment.
Gulfstream?
No, but they have been American weaponry is now finesse weaponry.
Yeah.
And it can't handle. It really can't handle being in war environments because it's very fragile.
Too sensitive.
You know, this Russia is sitting back here. They still put a lot of money into this brick and mortar weapons, tanks, gas-powered stuff. Listen, they're trying. America and these NATO nations are trying to go without oil and gas to fuel their military-industrial complex. How the hell are you gonna sit back here and fuel tanks with solar? Fuel tanks with with some damn Tesla shit out.
And this
it ain't gonna work, bro. It's not gonna work.
And this is the issue. You're dealing with. We're on this Gen Z generation, which is a soft generation, a weak generation. That's Gen Z here. But you're not dealing with the other generations of other nations. They're still hard.
These Russians are hard. Listen, the only reason this war is even as furious as it is because Ukrainians are Russians too. Right. These guys aren't chumps.
Still G's,
the Ukrainian army was the toughest of all the NATO armies. When you start getting these Polish, they're gonna be running through these Polish like it ain't nothing. And these Frenchies. Watch when these Frenchies start fighting, huh?
Well, that's why they
go, I quit.
Well,
I quit. Look, French flag, I quit.
Yeah. The Frenchies are already aligned.
The Frenchies is going to protest.
Yeah.
What they don't tell you is that the Frenchies are protesting against Macron in France. Yeah. They want this guy out. They don't tell you that though. Point out. Anyway, it is what it is. That's what's going on in the war front, and it's the progress is slow, but you never know when things are going to accelerate because the more that they're losing, because Bakhmut, you're going to hear that Bakhmut is completely conquered within days. Then what? Then they're going to take Avdiivka, which is north of it. It's Avdiivka, and then Russia has the choice: are we going to keep moving forward in Kherson and Odessa? And they could, because right now Ukraine is vulnerable. And if they take those spots, the only thing left is Kiev and then the west, far west to Poland, Kiev and Lviv. But the truth is, Russia don't even want that. Because it's dead land, and you will be arguing and fighting with a bunch of crazy Ukrainians all damn day long. You don't want to do it. It's not worth it. So, point is, the worse they look, the more America would have the tendency to do something extreme to provoke more issues. A couple weeks ago, they tried to bomb the Kremlin. And they used EMP devices to stop it from blowing up. It just fell and hit the roof of the Kremlin. But it didn't blow up, it just fell. But they're trying to take jabs at Putin as we speak. So that's what's going on, man. There's nothing else happening. It's slow boogie, but it ain't slow boogie.
It's your usual World War III.
Yeah, it's just a usual update on World War III on WW3.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because it is WW3. It really is. And we're just in the infancy of WW3.
And the Joes in America, the average people in America, don't know because the media conglomerates are always, dishonest.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here looking at,
They're just spinning the media how they want to do it.
We're looking at the Royals and the paparazzi chasing the Royals in New York. That's the big news.
Everybody looking at the LeBron, the playoffs, and they're worried
really
about that
going
shit.
in.
Or Kanye wearing socks and tights.
Yeah.
It's whack, bro.
Those things are the major news.
Yes.
Celebrity news.
Yeah, celebrity news. Actually, in Philo it says that when a country is based upon fashion, when fashion dominates a culture, it's a sign of a degrading society, a degenerate society.
This isn't something new, man.
Yeah, it's nothing new. When they look at fashion, when fashion is important, they say that's a sign of a degrading. He said that's a sign of a degrading society. It's a fallen society when fashion is important.
Priorities are off.
Yeah, priorities are off. That's a sign of a fall coming. Yeah, I mean it's weak, but it's also collapsing. It's a sign of a collapsing society.
It's how long
you don't have any other business.
Yeah, like when does fashion become, what you got on its clothes become, national headlines and news.
Because America is a service industry. Everything that we do, we're doing all of this import, not enough export. What made this country or any country powerful is that they exported more than they imported.
Initially, it was that cotton and that
Cotton.
sugar, cotton, tobacco,
And they can
crops.
undercut all the competition because they weren't paying employees. That was how they maintained their superiority. You cut your costs down. And when you're in any type of business scenario, if I cut my costs, I can charge less and I can outbid everybody. That's how you beat your competition. But now you're sitting. The factory worker is obsolete in the United States.
Yeah.
And most laborers that are being pushed aside. So now we're just service based.
This is part of why the left wing's inviting a lot of immigrants into the states, because you have two branches of Edom, two dominant branches of Edom in the states, and they have different visions for the future of the states, different solutions for solving these problems. Some want to be the conservative model, take it back to how it used to be, make America great again. Other ones, they're trying to adapt and have a modernistic approach to how we're going to adapt to these social problems.
And those guys are funded. Those are the ones that are being funded because it's almost like the elites want this place to get broken down. So a new world government can be set up.
That they control.
That they control. Yeah. So as this, they're purposely breaking this place down, but Russia's not fitting the script because they're sitting back here and they're pushing their zone too. So listen,
they're throwing everything off.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Yes.
That's their goal.
Klaus Schwab stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, but that's what's being pushed. But all the elites and all the nations aren't necessarily following the script, and that's where you get your wars from. Okay, so it's coming.
And you got some real men out there that won't drink Bud Light.
Yeah. I see cats drink. I see a couple guys drinking that Bud Light. I'll be looking like, come on, why are you doing this, bro?
A lot of people have stopped drinking Bud Light.
Yeah, I never drank it, bro.
I didn't hear it.
But Bud Light has taken a 26% loss
I'm
in
telling
profits
you.
from last year,
Yeah,
which
bro.
equates to like $5 billion already.
Oh, my God.
What happened?
Hey, did they like? Is he still? Is that cat still doing commercials and stuff?
No,
It's a new one.
it was said that Dylan Mustanky was his real name was Mulvaney. I would call him Mustanky, but that can was supposed to be a celebratory, can, not like a novelty item specifically sent from Bud Light to him or her for making that transition. It wasn't supposed to be mass produced, but since he put it on Twitter and it became,
Synonymous.
It was synonymous because it showed that Bud Light sent that can to him to say, we support you, we follow you, and we applaud you in your transition. So that once they put it on Twitter, got all these Twitter followers, then that's when everybody's like, man, the hell with this Bud Light.
Oh, it has a rainbow.
Yeah.
No, it has a space on it.
Yeah. So then,
Like Jordan Louis box.
Bud Light said, well, Anheuser-Busch said, no, that was our that was our marketing team,
No,
which
no,
is
no.
a third party. That wasn't us.
No,
that was a third
get
party
outta here.
company that decided to do that.
We
kind of
didn't do
marketing.
Because if it was
We
a
didn't
bunch
do it.
of thumbs up, then it would have been mass production.
Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So then they realized it was a bad idea. So the two people in control of marketing took both leave of absences from the Anheuser-Busch company. They both took leave of absences because that was a tank job. Whoever came up with that, but it also shows there's a lot of Americans that ain't with that. They ain't with that transition, and with that transvestism. You know, they're not with it, bro. They don't support it. But it's catching so much backlash that Anheuser-Busch is trying to reevaluate how they do commercials, how they do marketing. America first. Now they come out.
They have a can. They have a can with camouflage, military camouflage when they're coming out, and they have USA cans. But they're very tone deaf with the average person, with the average people. They're very tone deaf because a lot of their money comes from the military, it comes from conservatives.
Somebody want that face.
But their tone deaf switch up is turning people off even more. Like, listen, man, we know you're just appealing to us.
Yeah, well, I seen Issachar come out of the gas station. They had Modelo, bro. I said no Bud Light. They said no. No Bud Light.
I love that, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what's up, bro.
What's up?
That's what I'm talking
Drink
about,
that
bro.
Modelo then.
Well, Modelo is stronger anyway, bro. What's that? Bud Light's like water, bro. Anyway.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, we're going to sit back and shut it down and send our present. All right? So, Majim Wapanya, Rashalam,
Rise to face
Jerusalem.
You know, rise to face Jerusalem.
They want to be modernaires.
Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahushai.
In the name of Yahushai.
Please listen to us right now.
Please listen to us right now.
Send Michael
Send Michael
and the righteous angels
and the righteous angels
to watch over, bless,
Heal.
protect, and make strong, the people of Yasharallah.
the people of Yasharallah.
Also send unto us
Also send unto us
much wisdom,
much knowledge,
much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, and much love, spiritual power, and forgive all of our sins.
and forgive all our sins.
Yahushai come quickly.
Yahushua come quickly.
For in thee is our hope,
is our hope,
always, and forever. Amen.
Amen.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives to us the law.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the light to see.
Number 3. Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the ram's horn to call the people.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai.
Baruch Thee Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Shemon, Zayat,
Lamashah, Yashua.
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that gives us the olive oil to anoint Israel.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord.
It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord,
and to sing praise unto thy name.
and to sing praise unto thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning.
To show forth thy loving kindness in the morning,
And thy faithfulness every day.
and thy faithfulness every night.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings.
Upon an instrument of 10 strings,
And upon the psaltery.
and upon the psaltery,
Upon the harp.
upon the harp,
With the solemn sound.
with the solemn sound.
For thou Yahweh.
For thou, Yahweh,
Has made me glad through thy work.
has made me glad with thy word.
I will triumph.
I will triumph
In the works of thy
in the
hands.
works of thy hands.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
How great are thy works.
How great are thy works,
And thy thoughts are very deep.
and thy thoughts are very deep.
A brutish man knoweth not.
A brutish man knoweth not,
Neither doth the fool understand this.
neither does the fool understand this.
When the wicked spring is the grass.
When the wicked spring is the grass,
And when all the workers of iniquity do flourish.
and when all the works of iniquity do flourish,
It is that they shall be destroyed forever.
it is that they shall be destroyed forever.
But thou, Yahweh, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt. Like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see. My desire on my enemies. And my ear shall hear. My desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord. Shall be fat and flourishing. I'm sorry. They shall be fat and flourishing. Did I miss it?
No, yeah, thou shalt flourish like the course of our power.
I was wrong. Okay.
13.
I'm going to say 13 again. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. To show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock. And there is no unrighteousness in him. By Shem Yahushua. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hama Iowa, La Duad, Hana, Ma, Tawab, Wama, Na'ayam, Shabbat, Akim, Gum, Yachad, Hashman, Hatawab, Ayo, Hara'ash, Yerad, Ayo, Hazaquan, Haran, Shayarad, Ayo, Hayah, Hanawak Yawa, Kator, Haramwan, Shayarad, Ayo, Haroya, Tazayawan, Hayah, Sham, Tazawah, Yahoo, Habaraka, Kayayim, Havalam, Hashem Yahushua.
Psalms 133 in English. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life evermore. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Rakhneo. Wachironi. Wabiat. Support. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Rakhneo. Wachironi. Wabiat. Support. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. Rakhneo. Wachironi. Wabiat. Support. Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua, Rakhneo, Wachironi, Wabiat, support. Brak they ho, Brak they ho shot, Brak they ho, Brak they ho shot. All knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all mercy, all long suffering, all power from your house. All power from your house. All power from your house. Hashem, Yahushua, the water, Yad, Aman. Circle up.
Saluting out and
Let the boys come in.
saluting out in the heavenly order. Yahweh, Yahushua, Ukwesharol, and Israel, Amajim. Ra. Top to Memphis sisters. Saluting out the daughters of Zion and Israel, Amajim. Ra.
Yes, but up. Dismiss. Fall out. All right, Israel. Kawada for tuning in. See you guys on Monday, all right? Kawada.